All right. Hold on, let me make sure. I gotta make sure I got my right mic in. Hold on. There we go. 'Cause I don't want y'all to hear no echoes. I don't want y'all to hear no echoes. All right. So put a one in the chat if you can hear me loud and clear. There we go. There we go. So we should be good now. All right. So y'all can hear me loud and clear. Okay. So the link is in the chat. The link is in the chat. Make sure you join up here if you want to join the conversation. All right. Now, let's change this background because this ain't My God Mondays. We do that on Mondays. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Change the styles. There we go. What is Philly club music? Well, break it down. Philadelphia, the first U.S. capital of the United States of America. There's a lot of history here. And within that history, it comes out also in its art and in its people. And not necessarily in that order. With Philly hip hop and Philly dance music, disco, funk, Gamble and Huff, Philadelphia International Records, the sound of Philadelphia. If you don't know that song, you have no idea what Philly club music actually involves. Because when I created Philly club music, it was with the understanding of not just honoring my city. Yes, I was attaching and borrowing and building upon what other cities have began, but that's also because I have no problem in honoring those respective cities. I.e., when I got signed to Mad Decent and I was traveling around the world, people knew I was from Philly for the most part, but I was representing the club music culture as a whole. Because I understood that when I step out there on that stage or when I'm out there and people are looking at DJ Sega, I'm representing people that don't know that I'm representing them. I'm representing Black descendants of American slaves here in America. I'm representing club music culture as a whole. That means Baltimore, Philly, Newark, New Jersey. I'm representing the Brick Bandits because that was my squad. I'm representing Mad Decent because that was my label. I'm representing my parents because because if anything was to go wrong, somebody would go, who raised you? Did you have a mom? Did you have a dad? Who taught you? Who did not teach you how to behave or how to act or how to speak or how to move? And whether they actually taught me or not, I know I'm representing them. That's part of the representation. Because it's important to understand that. Right? The sound of Philadelphia, TSOP. That song is known around the world as Soul Train's theme song. But the name of that song is actually called The Sound of Philadelphia. Keep that in mind. Philly hip hop has always been its own thing. It wasn't piggybacking off of New York, regardless as to what some people would actually assume, right? And Because of that, we had our own style of things. Yes, we had gangsters who was rapping. Yes, we had hustlers who was rapping. Yes, we had when Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince started out, it was the original form of the DJ and the MC. It was it was Fresh Prince's job to go take a look at my DJ. My DJ is dope. Take a look at what he could do. That was the original job of the MC, was to say, hey, the DJ that don't have the time to get on the mic to shout everybody out, to tell you who he is, to tell you what song is playing, or to tell you what he's about to do. That's my job, the MC. All right. So when you look at club music, what is club music? Well, when anybody asks me overseas to explain it to anybody who never heard it before, because it's not as easy as saying, oh, well, like Baltimore club music. It's not that easy. Some people don't understand what Baltimore club is. In fact, me personally, as a fan of club music, I had to learn that term because here in Philadelphia, they don't call it Baltimore club music or club music. They called it party music. And that's because the DJs that actually had the music weren't educating the people on what they were. In fact, they were keeping it on a tight hush. Nobody knew who Rod Lee was, KW Griff, Boo Man, Jimmy Jones, and those three are the Doodoo Kids. They didn't know Frank Ski by name, for real, for real. Even though he was on the radio down there, we didn't know Frank Ski by name. The DJs did, not the people who were dancing to the music. We didn't know these things. I had to educate myself on these things. It was only when I started chasing the truth where I would find out the facts. Because the one thing that I did know and understand was behind this music, you have people that has lived lives with a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And they pour their experiences, their memories, their ideas into this music. And it was important to me to know the names of the men that made this music because who knows what they went through? Who knows what they've dealt with? Who knows how much blood they spilt, how much tears they've cried, how much sweat they've given that led them to the very songs that allows for some of us who are fans of their music to be able to get through our bad times, to get through our blood, our sweat, our tears. How dare us dance to the music and not know the names and therefore the stories of the people behind this music? Feel me. Dun, 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 dun. Feel me. Feel who? But seriously, if we love that song, if we feel that song, if we hear the man says, feel me, how do we know who we are processing? This is why people end up listening to music and they don't know that it changes their behavior, their mindsets, how they move, what they're focused on. So it was important for me personally, as a fan of club music, long before creating it, to know the names of Rod Lee, DJ Techniques, Miss Tony, KW Griff, Boo Man, Jimmy Jones, Rod Brax. And there's so many more. DJ Patrick. There's so much more. And that's the early shit. That's before Black Star. That's before Rah Rah. That's before DJ Tigger. Baltimore's DJ Tigger because Jersey got a DJ Tigger too. And I'm cool with both of them. But club music. What is club music? Well, it's the tempo of house. I always start out with that. It's the tempo of house. It's got the bass of hip hop, break beats, and whatever the fuck I want to sample. That is what my music sounds like. If they don't know what quote the term Baltimore club is, it's like, how would you describe it? How would you describe that sound? The tempo of house music. All people know house music. The bass of hip hop, break beats, and whatever I sample. I don't give a damn if it's the Daisy Sour Cream Dollop jingle, which is when I'm gonna remix live on stream next week, by the way. So make sure y'all be here because we are doing DJ Segamus, where we go live every single night this month at 8 p.m. on the Twitch channel to combat being shadow banned, because step one is being consistent. That's step one of combating being shadow banned, is being consistent. Step two is being consistent, and is when that consistency builds, you then gain witnesses. And when you have witnesses, people get to actually see when shit is changing, when shit is glitching, when shit is being watered down, when they're magically unfollowing me and they didn't know, when they're not getting notifications, when they're not seeing my posts. And then step three is when the people take over, where they get proactive, where they like, I know this nigga is shadow banned, so that means that I have to actively check on him. I have to actively go to the Twitter to see what he's saying. I have to actively go to SoundCloud to see what was posted. I have to actively go to the Bandcamp to listen to the music and support it. You got to be proactive in it because you know that the powers that be or somebody is keeping you away from that for whatever reason. So 3 steps. Step one, I got to be consistent. Step two, we need witnesses. And we got witnesses. Speaking of witnesses, we got some people that's going to join this conversation. We got 2 people waiting, both from Jersey. And I've been on the Fuck Jersey Club kick right now. I'm about to kick off my villain season. My villain season is here. Philly Club just turned 21. And every time I say that shit, I feel like I need to take a shot, because why the fuck not? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm bringing up Notorious Herb and Bantu Hatuckle. Welcome, gentlemen.
Yeah,
How art thou?
what's the word, brother man?
Every damn thing. So the first thing I want, so I'm going to start this off by asking y'all questions before y'all ask me. How do you all feel about the state of just Jersey club music specifically? We'll get to the other parts of the club music culture, but how do you feel about the state of Jersey club as it stands today? Herb, you could go first, and then Bantu, you can go second.
I gotta try to keep it as unopinionated as possible for right now. Um, man, I don't know where to start because there's so much shit going on right now. Like my mind mostly has been on how much of club music was for the youth, and if you look at the fucking impact that it has on the youth right now, I mean, it ain't it. It ain't it. It is not it. There's too much going
Mm,
on. Uh, I
interesting.
mean,
I
it's way
agree.
too much going on. Way too fucking much going on.
Let us know when you yield so Bantu can make it do what it do.
Hey, go ahead, go ahead. Like I said, I'm weighing in little by little.
Cool shit. Bantu, you got the mic? If his mic is working. If it's plugged in. If it's turned on.
Oh shit.
He might gotta get his mic. He might gotta choose his mic. But first of all, anybody who wants to join the conversation can definitely join the conversation. We're live on everywhere. Pretty much live everywhere. We're not live on Twitter. I don't think. I don't think. Oh yeah, we are. Oh shit. Fucking A. Well, we're live on Twitter too. Let the people hear it. Let the people know. But
Oh,
okay. There you go.
you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Hey, what's up? Oh
There you
my
go.
goodness.
Welcome
Yeah,
in,
it was an
Bantu.
echo cancellation. What's good?
There it is. How do you feel about the well, welcome in on the conversation. And
Yeah, I was here the whole
y'all
time.
yeah. How do you feel about the state of Jersey club music today as it stands?
From my perspective, I feel like to put it lightly, I feel like the soul of it is being kind of excavated in the same way hip hop is going through this resurgence as well, where it's like, there is a mainstream layer to the culture and there's no true infrastructure from the roots. So it's a situation where, like, it's like how you put it earlier, like a burning. I like that metaphor, that garden metaphor too, of like how the leaves have to become mulch for the roots to thrive on a tree. And I feel like there's a lot of leaves that feel like they can exist without the tree and the roots. And like that creates this like vortex of misinformation, erasure, which kind of plays into the same anti-black forces that kind of keep club not
Wow.
legitimized in many respects too.
Wow. That's definitely I
Well,
agree
shit, we
with
should have
that
started with you.
100%.
We should have started. I'm
Yeah,
about to
that
say, I'm
that
trying
I
to be very conservative. That was super constructive. All right.
damn that. Just be honest. Like here's the thing. Like ask me how I feel about the state of Philly club music.
Well, how you feel about the state of club, Philly club?
It's fucking shit. Why? Now, if it was just me, I'd be fine. The state of Philly club would be fine, even if motherfuckers didn't even know it existed. The problem is it's been so saturated with people that has lack of character, lack of integrity, lack of due diligence, that now the state as a whole, with all the people involved, even the people that don't know they're involved because they're just blurting the name, not knowing that they're coming into something that was already built,
Hmm.
even they are contributing to the confusion and I would say the demise, but it's not going to die in my motherfucking hands. It was born here and it still lives here. And sure, there can be old heads or young bulls that come along that say that they make Philly club music, which is 100% fine. Just know what that means. Know what Philly club music is. Know that its creator kept in mind Gamble and Huff, Philadelphia International Records, when I created Philly club music, and that gets poured into the Philly of Philly club music. That's what separates Philly club music from Jersey club and Baltimore club. Because what does Philly club music have that Baltimore and Jersey doesn't have? Starting off, the sound of Philadelphia. Hold on, I got this water. My teapot is going off. I'm making some coffee. What do y'all have to say about that?
Herb could go first.
I'm about to. I'm actually situating something real quick. I need 1 second.
All right. So now before we go for, can you like rephrase what you're saying just so you know? Oh, I think DJ Sigan and dip.
Yeah, give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna load right back in.
Now take your time. Take your time. I'm over here. I was chefing up some food myself.
Oh shit! I forgot I was muted. I didn't even see that shit. I'm over here steady talking.
Yeah, I was asking if
So
you. Yeah.
so Baltimore is a very big music theory city. Big band
Right.
type shit. Hence the horns that come out in their music. A lot of their students, a lot of their citizens are very, very intelligent when it comes to music theory specifically. Somebody plays a trumpet, somebody plays a saxophone, somebody plays a piano, somebody plays the drums, somebody plays something that's musically inclined, where they are very, very skilled in music theory, right? Hence why when they make club music from their city, there's a lot of horns. There's a lot of horns. Like they put emphasis on like the big band sound. Hence why now they have strut. The same people that make club music are now making what's called strut music. And it's pretty much just club music at 110 BPMs. But they're like a big, that's what Baltimore that's what comes out from the city and the environment and the education into Baltimore club music. Philly, we have a lot of history. This is the first US capital. There's a lot of art here. There's a lot of culture here. But the main thing that goes into quote Philly club music is the fact that we as a sourceful city, not just a resourceful city, but a sourceful city. I get to look at the Gambles and Huffs and Philadelphia International Records and the song that's called The Sound of Philadelphia that the world knows as the Soul Train theme song, and take a look at that and go, there's people all over the world. That's a little Easter egg because that's literally a lyric in the song. People all over the world. They know Philadelphia, but they don't know that it's Philadelphia. So to be able to, the same thing goes for hip hop. Like when it comes to who were the first people to rap on club music? Well, you got kids that have no idea what Doodoo Brown even is, unfortunately. And yet, even the OGs haven't really had that conversation about, well, what came first? Was it Doodoo Brown or was it Give 'Em Some Radical? When was what recorded and pressed up and put out? And does it really truly matter to the point where the argument is supposed to lead to, well, I did it first and I'm planting the flag, as opposed to just getting the history sorted. So that way, as we move forward into the future, everything that we're standing on is strong. It's a strong foundation, strong knowledge, strong history. We can literally fly with every feather of knowledge that we have that make up the wings. This is why when I step on stage, I'm bold. But when I get off that stage, you could barely find me. I'm still bold, but you could barely find me. I'm not a spotlight dude. I don't chase clout. But these kids, unfortunately, chase clout. Some of the OGs, unfortunately, chase clout. But Philly, we're kind of we're a very passionate city, but we're laid back too. You can hear the Soul Train theme song and feel all of Philadelphia in it, but not know that it's Philadelphia. Same thing goes for when DJ Sega travels around the world and he's representing the club music sound. So that's Baltimore. He's representing his Jersey squad, which is the Brick Bandits, but he's representing his city that he's from, Philadelphia. So the ideas that I come up with, the influences that I have is not just connected to Baltimore club music, and it damn sure is not because of the company that I keep when it comes to the Brick Bandits. That's because of my own upbringing, my own environments, my own surroundings, and the shit that I like. Like, who the fuck is going to take who else is going to remix Bill Nye the Science Guy? Show me. Or Pinky and the Brain, or Power Rangers. There was somebody in Baltimore, an OG, Rod Brax. He said, Sega, I've seen everything when it comes to club music, but there was one thing you did that I've never seen in club music before. You made music that motherfuckers could crowd surf to. Yeah, and he was dancing to that joint. Tyler J Music in the chat said that. Yeah, I forgot all about that because some of my accomplishments I don't really process 100%. Because I feel like it'll keep me from moving forward and to accomplishing more shit. But yeah, Bill Nye the Science Guy came to Philly just before the election. They played my Bill Nye the Science Guy song. He was dancing to it on stage. That's Philly's influence. We don't have to stamp Philly all over the place. I don't have to run around screaming Philly, 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 because it sounds like I'm compensating for shit. That's one of my beefs with Jersey, because who put Jersey on the map as far as Jersey club music? Wasn't it a Philly nigga? Sure, it was a Philly nigga. Who led for Jersey club as a state to be burnt, to be on fire right now? I'm pretty sure it was a Philly nigga, and it wasn't me. It was the other Philly nigga. But you're overcompensating when you gotta, yes, Baltimore club says represent where you from. So I'm from Philly, born in Philly, raised in Philly, still reside in Philadelphia. So I make Philly club music. I'm not in Baltimore amongst their surroundings to then pour into my art. That's why I don't make Baltimore club. I'm not from Baltimore. And I don't make Jersey or Brick City club music because I'm not from Jersey. It's about where you're from. It really is. The part of where it gets to where you're at is if you're in another place, being able to represent and honor that of which you're coming from. So it's about both. It's about where you're from and where you're at. And I'm from Philly, where we made Soul Train's theme song, where we made Give 'Em Some Radical, where we got the Fresh Prince of where we got the Fresh Prince and DJ Jazzy Jeffs and the DJ Cash Monies of the world. Philadelphia, where Cornbread, a New Yorker, got thrown into a juvenile facility here in Philadelphia. Cornbread is known for jump-starting the graffiti element of hip-hop. He did that here, though. There's a lot of these factors that gives us the wings that that allows us to be confident, because these roads that paved the ways that led to just this very conversation should be honored. No? Because how else will the next generation be able to not get fucked over, number one, not get told who they are, number two, because they will come along with their own narrative. They will come along to tell you who you are. There was some nigga on Twitter who was trying to argue me down because I fucking corrected him. He said that my manager, my former manager at the time, Dirty South Joe, he was my manager and he was cool with the Brick Bandits. And because he was cool with the Brick Bandits, that's why I became a Brick Bandit. I said, if you believe this... What were my exact words? I said something like, if you believe this, you must be, you got it chopped, or you got it fucked up, or you bugging the fuck out. Something like that. And he went the fuck off, called me all kinds of dickheads, told me to suck his dick, said claim whatever I want, a Philly club that I want to claim. But this nigga spells claim like C-L-A-M-E. I'm like, I'm supposed to argue with a nigga that can't even argue properly? Why waste my time doing that shit? I corrected him. He talked shit. I let him talk his shit. When I see him, I'ma see him, but I mean, it ain't no smoke over here. I ain't got no smoke for nobody unless they got smoke for me. And if they got smoke for me, I'm gonna make it fun for you. And I don't argue with niggas online. I keep telling niggas that. I don't argue with niggas online. I argue with racists and alleged white supremacists online that tries to change the history and the culture of shit and manipulate shit. But I also can't I can't control when motherfuckers feed into that shit willingly. This is the reason why I can't lift a finger to help Jersey Club right now. I can't. I did all of what I could do. And when I needed the help, nobody batted an eye. It was all about the state. Jersey isolated themselves. So what of the Philly nigga that put Jersey on the map? That put this Jersey squad on the map? What of him? If it's all about Jersey, and every single time they pop up and tag me in something, it's like, yo, we're doing this for Jersey. All right, have fun. What the fuck? What you hit me up for? I'm a Philly nigga. Stop isolating yourself. Because if this is about the Jersey club, if this is about Jersey club culture, let it be that. Don't tag me. Don't tag me. Same thing goes for Baltimore club. Because, yo, if I'm doing something for Philly club, right, and I hit you up, if you come and show love and support, and there's consequences from you showing love and support, wouldn't you stop supporting at some point? At some point, you would back the fuck off because you're not the preferred support. There's too many niggas that should have never been allowed in Jersey club. But who am I to say who's allowed in Jersey club? I'm a Philly nigga. There's too many niggas that was allowed to be involved in the culture. People with lack of character, lack of integrity, all who want money and bitches. Therefore, their puppet strings can get pulled. Yeah, it's villain season, nigga. For me, it's villain season. Philly club turned 21 this year. And I'm taking a shot.
Congrats.
Meanwhile, the people involved in the club music culture, can they tell you that? Can they say, hey, yo, Philly club is celebrating 21 years? Or are they so worried about their goddamn selves that they're isolating themselves, and therefore the culture is going to continue to be watered down until the industry and the powers that be figure out all of what we haven't figured out yet? All of the economics and the paperwork and where everything is going technology wise, all that shit is being figured out while niggas is arguing and representing blocks and whole states that we don't own. This is like, it's like, I know club is a drug. I said club was a drug. I cook it up like it's drugs. Like dead ass. But when this drug dealer gets knocked, right? And all of the Reggie Bushes and the fentanyls and the step-ons and all of that kind of watered down club music gets out there, and people get addicted to that because they like, well, it's out there and it's easy and it's cheap and it's accessible. It's on Spotify, it's on Instagram, it's on TikTok, it's fast, it's 10 seconds long. It's like, all right, well, have at it. When it fucks you up, don't say nothing. Don't cry when it fucks you up. When all of a sudden you can't breathe in between your woo and your tang, or between your sponge and your bob, because the shit is so fucking fast. Kids having heart attacks. I fucking warned people about that shit. You got 2 kids that had heart attacks. One in Baltimore, one in Jersey, if I'm not mistaken.
Wait, that happened?
Or was it 2 in Baltimore? Oh, that damn sure happened.
Wow.
That damn sure happened. Don't believe me. I could be a lying, flawed ass nigga.
You. I take your word.
Find out for yourself. Find out for yourself. There was a battle. There might have been a battle, and during that battle, the shit got so fucked. The music was fast. The temperature was hot, and there was a heart attack, and the kid died.
Oh my God, R.I.P.
R.I.P.
I know, like, the music would take a life like that.
I mean, you gotta breathe. Let me tell you something. When it comes to Baltimore club music, the one thing that I love the pace so much, because you could sample breathing and it's just gonna make it sound so. It's just gonna make it better. Like, there's a song called Scream Dub by DJ Techniques. Ooh, 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 let me hear you scream. Oh, ooh, ooh. You can't play that shit at 160 BPMs. Ain't no exhale. You inhaling like a motherfucker. You will fall the fuck out. That shit doesn't. That shit sounds like do 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 do. How the fuck can you dance to that? I mean, you can. You're gonna die. You can, but you're gonna die. Slow down.
So I got
Chill
a
the fuck
question,
out.
DJ Sagan. So you think
Yeah.
club music should move in a way towards like having, how can I say this? Like having infrastructure as far as like an institution, like something that can give people certificates for being like trained DJs and like a variety of fields because club music cover a variety of that's another like quiet part of club is that there's a lot of multiple
Mm-hmm.
disciplines within club music as a culture. So like you think there should be some type of institution that is giving people that kind of like not only certification to like work in the blue collar industries that we intersect with, but also like some type of like cultural stamp as well. Like if you go to any other trade school or college or what have you,
Uh, Hold on, because I'm over here making my coffee.
Now
I done
take your
got
time because
fucked.
I'm over
I
here.
done, I done fucked up and made 2 cups. I done poured coffee in
Damn.
2 days in 2 different cups and shit. I'm like, hold on, I know I had a goddamn cup here.
Yeah, but like building off what you're saying, because you're not the only person who like talks about club being a discipline in many respects. That is like anyone can play in the culture and experiment with sounds, but to like be you know how like a higher caliber club head, trained, a master teacher, if you will, right? Like you have to have discipline and you have to understand the fundamentals and the history, right? And I feel like what would help with that is an institution of some kind, but like you
Mm.
mentioned earlier, something that's not regionalized or like branded in a way that kind of removes Baltimore and erases Philly, or like even with Jersey Club, like even with the Jersey stamp, there's still an asterisk at the end because certain people don't get talked about or certain parts of the
Right.
history get de-mentioned or kind of like backseated, as I was mentioning
Yeah.
earlier. What like if you go to like Jersey Club Wiki and then it'd be like, oh yeah, it'd be like Unicorn, DJ Fade, and Cookie. That's Jersey Club rap, and it's like, well, when you talk about club music and rap and how it intersects, that's not true. And then even when you talk about that era, like Miss Porsche and Tokyo, you know, or Double C Chanel, right? They were kind of the rappers of our
Mm.
era at that point in time, but you won't see that documented despite multiple people within club music who have access to publication or who have publicized parts of club history mentioning them, So it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
odd seeing like how there's a lot of misinformation cropping up, which kind of lends itself to the appropriation that's also going because it's a symptom of the cannibalism that's also happening within a culture too.
That's right. That's right. 100%. I mean, does anybody remember Cotton the Cutie? Does anybody remember Miss Thang? Does anybody
Now you
remember
gotta
Miss
elaborate.
Mocha? These women were the queens of Baltimore club music. These voices are the voices that you know and have heard today. I'll give you, let me put you on. Cotton the Cutie. Who is Cotton the Cutie? How do you, I know you know her voice because she's the voice behind I ain't got no man or you in luck. I don't want no boyfriend. I just want to fuck. That's Cotton the Cutie. That's Cotton the Cutie, a
I appreciate
vocalist
you for
from
putting a name
Baltimore.
to a face too, or a
Or
name in a face to a sound.
Miss Thang. Like she did some of y'all might not know Shake Your Dick. Watch yourself. Shake Your Dick. Show me what you're working with. That was like Baltimore's female, like there was like a Queens of Baltimore era where it was all of these tracks coming out with these chicks, and shout out to DJ Techniques because he was behind a lot of those. You got but Miss Thang, she besides Shake Your Dick, she did and I love Click Control. Click Control is my shit. That's like a Philly have like our own favorite club songs that other cities don't even know about. Like y'all think that y'all like y'all have y'all go-tos, but some of us we got our favorites. Um but Miss Thang also did club music. So there's a song I love playing where you hear a woman goes, "Hey DJ, can you play club music? I love club music. All this hip hop shit has got to go. Excuse me, I just got here. I want to shake my ass. I love club music." Ugh, I love that song. But that's Miss Thang. Ms. Thang. Baltimore. Without Cotton the Cutie and the Miss Thangs and the Miss Mochas and the Menage a Trois. Menage a Trois is the voice behind I Think It's Fine. That funky number 69. Without them, how do we get the Cookie Kawais of the world? That's my question to y'all. Without them, how do we get the Cookie Kawais?
Well, kind of to build on that, right? Like being that it's publicly known that Unique was on the PBS documentary, a good talking point from her was that there was, well, maybe it's specific to Jersey Club, being that that's what she said in reference to. Though, like I always kind of see that there was this narrative, because I kind of mentioned this slightly too, that there's like a less feminine or a less woman presence in club music, and I feel
Mm.
like there's it's a two part because there is a part of like misogynoir that's involved with that, but I also feel
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of that comes from erasure as well. And like
Mm.
I know that's not true when you talk about like the vocalists that you mentioned, the vocalists I come up with that are very femme, woman, right? Like the same from um even like deeper when you talk about Rah Rah and how like Rah Rah vocals literally carried my generation for the most part, right? Like to
Right.
me, it's kind of like I'm trying to figure out like where it comes from, right? Like the idea that like club music is a male or a man's sport when it's not when you go through the history. Definitely when talking
Who
about
the
like
fuck? Who the fuck said that?
look,
That's what I want to know.
that's a
Who
popular
said that?
narrative that can be cited to the PBS documentary if you watch it about Jersey Club. Unique kind of gets in, like as you were saying earlier in regards to Cookie about like how there's the girl power narrative that Unique was saying. It also plays into that narrative that she was saying. Well, like club music is a boys club, and I guess it's
What?
specific to Jersey Club
No, it's not.
because to
No,
me
it's not.
because like even I seen the documentary and she talks about how there was K Swift, but for her there was no one else. Though for me, even though like K Driz is now non-binary, right? Like there was the K
Well, K Swift is
Driz.
Baltimore, but you're talking. So if you're gonna jump cities, if you're gonna jump cities,
Yeah,
then make sure that there's a context to that. Because if you're
true.
gonna say it's a boys' club and then you jump to Baltimore, as soon as you jump to Baltimore, that shoots your fucking argument. It's club music was never a boys' club. It was a black club. I'm gonna say it again. Club music as a whole, Baltimore, Brick City, and Philly, it was never a boys' club. You getting us confused with Studio 54 and disco era and all that shit. No, it was never
See,
a boys' club. It was a black club. It didn't matter what on what your sexual orientation didn't matter. Your
I
gender
agree as
didn't
well.
matter. Your religion didn't matter. If you were in a club and you were stressed out and you just needed to dance and get that shit out, that's what mattered. That's what club music was for. It wasn't the He-Man Woman's Haters Club. Like what kind of shit? What kind of false narrative? And okay,
But to tie
fuck
it
that.
into what you were saying earlier, right? Like I
Mhm.
feel like that's kind of like building off of Unique's narrative in the PBS documentary. It kind of ties in what you were saying about abusers and stuff like that, right? Like that maybe for the Jersey Club space, it became a boys' club because of the toxic male culture or whatever, right, that was developing in regards to, as you said, Jersey centralizing itself, and that's where
Mm.
like a lot of the rock kind of begins, because it's less about the movement as a whole and more about people being opportunistic. This is just going based off of information that's been publicized, by
So then
Unique
that
and many
so then
others.
the right. So then that means that the narrative was only thrown out there to make somebody or something look good, but it doesn't stand tall because it's not even factual. Because tell that to the Monies in Jersey. Tell that to, oh man, the people who the women who were super supportive and working with Envy, the dance crew. Tell that to all of the women who were there early when it was just Brick City Club music. The wives, the girlfriends, the voices that were on the songs. There were voices that were used back then in
Yeah, I heard
Brick
about that.
City Club music. So if how is it, or why is it, and only she'll be able to answer this. Why is it that a false narrative like club music is always been a boys club? Why would that be thrown in a PBS documentary so that could be solidified in history when it was false?
Now, mind you, I am paraphrasing what she is saying, so
Right.
ain't like we watching it and going bar for bar what she said, but that's
I
basically.
mean, we don't fucking tip me because I'll fucking do it. You know I'll do
Hey,
it,
you know
Bantu.
me, I'm a citing the source of motherfucker too. I do math as well, so we can break down
Mm.
the math. That's why I cited
Matter.
it, because I get what she's saying in regards to like how black women are treated like in intercommunal violence is a thing, and that does play out no matter what culture you're in, right? Though, like, knowing club history and listening to you and many other like older people within club, right? Like, there's a clash in the narrative for me. So like I understand that she is speaking to a truth, though to me it's trying to contextualize that truth in the larger sphere of things, of like, and how that plays out, and like who roles play what part, and like even
Which makes
how
it
like.
dangerous. What about the women? Which makes it dangerous. What about the women whose stories get ignored because of that narrative? Like, how do you honor the women that helped Brick City Club music at its early stages, and Jersey Club even now? How do you honor the women involved by saying, or how do you honor that the women that came before you by acting as though you were the first, or giving a narrative as though women aren't welcome in the culture, when in actuality the truth is it became a different kind of club as far as the state of it when Brick City Club music became Jersey Club music. And there were people that were let into the culture who had lack of character, lack of integrity. Therefore, the women and the children, let's not forget the fucking children, were and are in danger because of that. Like that's where that narrative comes from. It's not like, oh, it was always a boys club. No, 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 no. It's a clout chasers club today. And when you chasing clout and you're not grounded in anything, not even in truth, then you're going to do and say whatever. Some years ago, and some people remember this. Some years ago, I don't even, to be honest, I don't even know if I'm still following Unique on Twitter, because I saw something on about Coachella and she was like, hey, I'm getting treated like this, that, and the third, fourth, fifth, and the sixth. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's standard. That's standard practice. Nobody buys their fucking hotel to play Coachella. That's not how that works. If you understood how the business works, then you know what card to pull if that's even necessary. If you're being oppressed, or if you're being watered down, or if you're being treated in a way that's different from everybody else, then the one thing you're going to make sure is to bring the facts with you by being able to say, well, so and so that I worked closely with was able to get A, B, and C, and then me being in the same caliber, I got something different. She didn't even know that what she was complaining about was standard practice. And everybody on Twitter who knew better pretty much responded with that. It's like, wait a minute. Coachella doesn't pay for no 5-star hotel and put you up and get you your all of that shit. That's like South by Southwest. You get yourself there. They don't pay for you.
All right, so I also have another question, like, cause I'll bring up like the generational connections, especially like with Philly Club in your arena.
Hmm.
Like, is there anyone from like PA or Philly specifically that you kind of see it for in the new generation?
Oh yes. You talking about as far as what, Philly Club?
Yeah, dancers, producers, it don't matter, because to me, like I like to support anyone who's out there really making moves, or you don't even gotta be making moves, right? You could step away from your platform for a couple years to a week, right? Like I still like the support. So like like who you looking out for as far as the up and coming Philly or PA, right? If you want to zoom it out to the state, who you really looking out for?
I'll give you three names.
Hmm.
Three. Traps and Trees, DJ Reezy, and Tyler J Music. Those are the three names you need to keep in mind as far as Philly club music is concerned. Everybody else, they gotta earn their keep. These three are earning their keep. And they're not kissing my ass because that's not necessary. They're not they're not doing things for me that they don't have to because that's not necessary. Like I'm not making them walk to get me a cheese steak or cheesecake or cheese. It'd be nice, but I ain't making them do none of that shit. The only thing that matters to me is, do they know enough of the culture enough to give a fuck about its state and to contribute to its current state and add to it? Do they know the history? Do they give a fuck about the wings that we have that allows us to fly? Do they give a fuck about the fact that other people only are able to capitalize off of our culture based off of what we don't know or don't learn? Hence why learning is the first thing you gotta do. Don't come to me asking me how to teach you to make club music, because I won't. You should be coming to me asking me questions. What is Philly Club? Why is Philly Club? How are you, Philly Club? What made you start? Do you like club music at all? Who are your favorite artists from Baltimore or Jersey? Does piracy matter? Questions that leads to opening up cans of worms that will allow for people to do their own research, to do their own due diligence, so that they develop their own care and their own desire based on facts and truth. And then they can honor the blood, sweat, and tears that were spilled, maybe never knowing those names, but yet honoring those things, because we do know that those things exist. There are people whose names we will never know because they were never written down. They were never cataloged. And to know that those people whose names will never be known, at the very least existed and contributed, matters. This is like Black history. How the fuck do you move forward proudly as a black person in a world that tells you you a nigga and 3/5 of a person? No, you don't deserve reparations. No, you don't deserve laws being passed that protects you. Never mind the laws that are being passed to protect other communities. Never mind the checks that are being ran so that other places and other people and other communities can be built. No, nigga, not you. God forbid they don't know who Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and Huey P. Newton and Sojourner Truth and Harriet Tubman and just the people, and then the James Browns and the MC Hammers and the Michael Jacksons. Those three right there, that's my trinity. Little Richards. Happy belated birthday to Little Richard, because we spoke him up 30 minutes before his birthday a couple days ago.
I do
I'm,
agree with
I'm
you.
real quick, and then I'll give you the mic back. I want anybody, cause I when the whole LGBTQ argument happened during Obama's first and second term, and I love having conversations with my people where we can take our biases and actually hold them up and discuss them and see who like what's what. One of the things that I kept hearing was, oh well, black gay men, right, that I'm having conversations with, right, they're like, hey, we need laws that protects us, and I'm like, you a whole nigga, like part of you, like you may be on a sexual spectrum of whatever, but you're black at the end of the day. When you walk in a room, that's the first thing they notice about you. They don't give a fuck about what God you worship. They don't give a fuck about what you do for a living. They don't give a fuck about who you fucking. So the laws that you're trying to get to protect you as a gay man won't even hold weight, because at the end of the day, gays were never looked at as 3/5 of a person. That was my argument. And they said, well, we're tired of hearing the whole it's meant to be Adam and Eve and not Adam and Steve. Now, a couple days ago, we pulled up the footage of Little Richard and his interview with David Letterman. He said that shit on. He said I was gay because I thought like there was things that I felt and there was things that I thought, but at the same time, white people wouldn't let me perform for the white girls because they thought I wanted the white girls. So when I put on makeup and I dressed up my hair and I went out there as gay, they said, oh, Richard's a good boy. He said, I'm not gay anymore because I realized that God made Adam and Eve and not Adam and Steve. He said that. And my whole question was, I wonder if he was the first person to ever actually say that publicly.
Well, to give my my lens, right? Like I can't speak for all queer people or nothing like that, right? Like
Yeah.
my thing is like the way I see Lil Richard's story is no different than Miss Tony's, where it's
Right.
a queer person who is like gender fluid, who
Mm-hmm.
expresses different from like the norm of what is considered for cis men, right? And they shatter and break through barriers as far as like music and culture goes. Though at the same time, because of the time period they're in, they're not really like cultivated. Like their queerness as a black queer person is not cultivated in the same way as white queer identity. Because white queer identity, all identities, whether it's white women, whether it's any other group
Mm-hmm.
disabled, right? Like the whiteness is always gonna be put on display first, and there's always gonna be protections there. So like
Right.
when you have discussions about like Little Richard and Miss Tony, and we even have these discussions about like older queer people when you talk about like Swan Dorson, right? Like you have these people who, due to society, feel pressure not to maintain those identities, and due to how like this is a Christian nationalist nation, right? Like there's always going to be overemphasis on God and what's natural and whatnot, because there's no culture that is like like to be queer is to be anti the white family, right? So of course they're going to become conservative and kind of erase their queerness as they get older, right? Though that's something that you won't see now in this generation. Though the continue forward, I also like to connect it when it comes to like the ballroom queer element. So even though like even with Miss Tony kind of stepped away from, like from what I've been reading, right? I haven't seen like actual like journal writings or anything from Miss Tony. Though from what I was reading, like even though Miss Tony may have stepped away from queerness and by extension probably ballroom culture, right? I haven't got that hard information yet. Though I feel as if though the spirit of ballroom club as like an intersection of like black queer identity and club music is still alive and well, so that legacy still goes on in the same way how Little Richard lived through so many very extravagant what's his name, not NBA Youngboy, is it NBA Youngboy with the cowboy fit and dress and all, that legacy still lives on, though. Is like you said, with naming the names and knowing the names of these people. I feel like a lot of people have that disconnect, and that's why, like, for me, I feel like, in regards to building connections across the generations and bridges, like, do you feel like what would you say to those who might not know better but want to know better or do better? How can they bridge that connection with you in order to, at least have a reboot for club to a degree, right? Like, how can that bridge
Good
go forward?
question. I think that's a great question. I'll start it off by saying that some of the biases that y'all are told are lies. There was never a shun to anybody who was gender fluid, who was of another gender. Miss Tony was worshipped in Baltimore. I mean, worshipped. Let me show you something, and let me like that. Anybody who knows that I'm telling the truth will back me up when I tell you. Hold on. That when it came to Miss Tony, didn't nobody give a fuck about whether he was gay or wore a dress or none of that shit. They didn't give a fuck. Miss Tony is a legend. Miss Tony is from Baltimore. Miss Tony is like, okay, so let me show something. I want to show something real quick. And I hope I don't get knocked for copyright shit. But I want to show something.
I mean, you can always edit and post, right?
There is there was a scene. So I love how some things just come together and fall into place. But there was a scene when I must have been like 10, 11, and The Corner was out on HBO. And those of us that remember The Corner, we watched that shit with our parents. That was like being put on to hood shit. But this was like, The Corner was very, very Baltimore, right? Who expected for this to happen? And how can somebody, Miss Tony, be put down or be subjugated or be split from a culture that they're not welcome in, and this happens?
Dangerfield stepping my way. Bodies get cremated on a Friday. We'll do it that way. Your death threater, sender, head spinner, rap beginner, light dimmer. We knock out your winner. The gun reader. Mud home.
That was on HBO. That's The Corner. It was a miniseries based in Baltimore. And because of its ratings, guess what came after? The Wire. And don't think The Wire didn't get some of that Baltimore club music love either, because it damn sure did. I was fucking excited when I found out that DJ Technique was going to co-direct an episode or two of The Wire, because Baltimore club music was involved.
Now I would say this, right? Like as somebody who, even on my own platform, who's vocal about the queer presence within club music, I would say
Mm-hmm.
my major gripe is the same that's shared by everyone else who's also in ballroom as well. Is that people try to evoke the legacy of Miss Tony by mixing and merging ballroom with Cole and with club music, though they always
Mm.
forget the core part of the MC, right? Like what makes club ballroom is the MC, right? Like there is no intersection between Baltimore club and ballroom and Baltimore ballroom culture without the master of ceremonies. And in many cases, you find producers, DJs, and a variety of other people who make these very club inspired songs, but they don't do it in a way that Mike Q and DJ Slink do it. They do it in a way where it's just them doing the interpretation of ballroom culture. So, like, my main criticisms when it comes to like being queer in club is that there is an element of like the dancers. There is an element of the MCs. There is an element of like producers and DJs within ballroom who kind of, I'm not gonna say, it's kind of like how like Mike Q is related to Jersey Club in many respects, but many people don't openly talk about it. Though, like when you do your digging, you find out like Mike Q was very much so
He
there. You know,
Yeah, he is Brick City Club music. He was a Brick Bandit.
exactly. Thank you. You see what I'm saying? So
Like
like
so when you're looking at, so let me put something, so Jersey Club, the way that my beef is with Jersey Club, I don't have the same beef with Ballroom, but it functions in the same way.
basically.
Ballroom is just a way to say club music for gays, for gender fluid folk, for people that are on the spectrum, just everybody but straight. And it's kind of isolating, which is fine. I mean, have your own club, but you can see how they took and they didn't honor that of which they took from. Hence why the MC is missing. Hence why when people are trying to do it, they don't know what they're doing because they didn't know where it came from, and they damn sure didn't know that it came from a place where your gender, your religion, your sexuality didn't matter. Your race did. Your awareness of your race did. That mattered. If you put in work and if you stressed out and you needed to get some musical release, that's what mattered. Because black folks go through shit on a level that other people really can't understand because we make it look good. So
Now, I
I
really feel what
wouldn't.
you're saying. Like in regards to like, how blackness and due to the nature of blackness of being at the bottom, that it is essentialized of like how our issues is in many cases other issues just wrapped under the thumb of anti-blackness. So I
Yep.
do agree with like a lot that you're saying, though in some regards I always put it like this, that when it comes to the culture, like especially when we talk about, because to me, I feel like the main, like a good portion of the issue, like with the erasure of Baltimore, the erasure of aspects of the Jersey Club, and even like outright Philly Club history, I feel like it is like a symptom of capitalism, and like how we need an anti-capitalist front as club heads by and large. Not to say that you can't make money or do
We
business,
need a
right? Because we
better
live
one
in the
and a
system.
bigger one.
Oh, like socialist Marxism, like
I
an
mean,
anarchic system,
I'm
that's like I don't want to put too many steps ahead, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to put
no,
that in the math for it, but
I'm saying, like, if there's gatekeepers that don't belong here, putting people that are better suited to be in those positions. If there's people who are benefiting economically based on what they know. This is again, this was my beef on why I used to go to Facebook and do my little rants, because I was like, why does everybody want to be a DJ? Why does everybody want to be a producer? Nobody wants to be a manager. Nobody wants to be an agent. Nobody wants to actually learn the business, for those of us that need these different gears behind the face of a watch. Because then guess what, none of us can complain when there's a bunch of DJs and a bunch of producers, no managers, no agents, no structures that look like us, that come in and benefit from us. We can't be mad when that shit happens, when none of us step into those positions. And to answer your question earlier, you said, how can anybody who like, how can that gap between me and anybody who wants to reach out to me be, how can that gap get smaller? How can somebody like
Yeah, like how
reach
can you
out
bridge
and
the
get,
gap between those who don't know but want to know? Like how they might be intimidated, they might not currently care right now because I do believe in that. Gil Scott, revolution won't be televised.
mm,
Sometimes people had to have their own heart to heart moment and realize that as Michael Jackson said, got to make that change, right? So like
yep.
to me, I understand people might not care or be concerned now, though later
Mm-hmm.
on, even though I have my criticisms then, later on they might have a change of heart and want to reach out or know they're
Ain't
tired
no
of
change
learning
of
new
heart.
music.
Later on they will, because they're going to be forced to.
Yeah, that's
You're
interest
either
convergent.
it's
I
either going to
believe
be
in that too.
it's you're either going to care the easy way by choice, or you're going to care the hard way against your own will. You're going to think that you giving a fuck because you want to, but at the end of it all, if you're not giving a fuck in the first place and all of a sudden you give a fuck later, it's because something happened.
Yeah,
Something happened to you, and something came to your doorstep where you personally had to give a fuck. And this is why certain people shouldn't wait until shit comes to their doorstep to give a fuck. Because it's going to be too late if it does come to your doorstep. Way too late. So how can that gap, how can we bridge the gap? First things first, just like you said, how can a person like Michael Jackson make that change? Well, same song. It starts with the man in the mirror. They gotta begin that shit on their own. I can't tell them to come to me. I can't tell them come to me because I'm the source. They have to find out that there's options first, and then choose the best available options to them. Now, it's my job to make myself the best available option. That's by just me being excellent. That's man in the mirror shit. But it's up to them. They got to give a fuck. There's got to be something in them that says, this is bigger than me. I'm stepping into something bigger than me. And even if I'm at the spotlight and at the helm of this shit, it still even then will be bigger than me. They got to have this internal dialogue with themselves on if they give a fuck, why they give a fuck. If they don't give a fuck, why they don't give a fuck. If they're clout chasing, okay, then be it as it may, what happens when you no longer got clout? If you're a clout chaser, if you're chasing money, if you're chasing bitches, what happens when there is no money? What happens when the bitches stop coming around? Are you going to turn into a scammer? Those are
Nah,
internal questions that people need to deal with on their own, but those are individual questions that happens through life. This shit comes into club music simply by default because of what they're getting involved in. If they was working for Amazon, it'd be the same damn thing. Because if they stealing, they gonna steal over there. So bridging the gap means it got to start with them. First of all, I can control whatever I can control, which is me. I'm making myself accessible. That's one step. Being able to put the information somewhere or give information out to those that give a fuck about that information. That's up to me. Them coming to me, inquiring about said information is up to them. Them giving a fuck is up to them. What they choose to do, and if they choose to apply it, or if they choose to believe me, or if they choose to not. If they choose to be skeptical because they were dealing with some lying motherfuckers, and that now they come to the source of information where there's nothing but facts over here, and now they're skeptical, they got to deal with that. That's all on them. That depends on the individual. But I control what I can control, and the people control what they can control. So anybody that's standing up to say, hey, this is what the truth is about club music, and these are the facts, and do your research and all of that, that's up to them. Just like for Herb, it's up to Herb to be as dope as he is. It's up to you, Bantu, to be as effective as you are. It's up to my chat to be as supportive as they want to be. It's up to the people who's listening in on this conversation as to whether or not they're going to believe anything that is said, and whether they do or don't, it's going to be still up to them as to whether they find the fuck out for themselves.
Yes, to build off of, that point specifically in regards to like what people could take away from this conversation, I want to say like, as I'm a firm believer in a counter narrative, right? Like if if the large white narrative of America history is to erase us and to downplay our contributions and our part that we play in this culture, in our culture, and our being as Black Americans or Black people, right, as a whole, right? Like what is a good counter step to push back against this narrative of like the misinformation of club in many respects? Like what is a good step in the pushback against the forces?
Well, I would say do your Googles, but motherfuckers done waited so goddamn long to do their Googles that AI started removing shit.
True.
And it's not just AI removing shit when a motherfucker like me is shadow banned from the powers that be, because I was there at the beginning of the EDM bubble. I know that EDM is off the back of club music. I know that. I was there. I synced it. And it's still happening. This is the reason why you got mad motherfuckers trying to make club music who don't know what club music is. Motherfuckers in the industry. I heard a goddamn club song at the end of the Power episode that dropped earlier today.
Wow.
Kill a nigga. I will kill a nigga. I'll stab a nigga. I'll shoot a nigga. I'll da-da-da. And then it drops into a club beat. I'm like, wow. This is how far they gotta go to try to while they trying to figure out what club music is in a state where the history is being removed, so it makes it easy for other people to come in and put a behind any fucking thing and say, look at what I could do. I could do it too.
No, I absolutely agree. Like when it comes down, because to me, I feel like when it comes to proper pushback, like besides the basics of like organizing and everyone's educated up to par, but those who are part of the culture who may know or maybe in the know, I feel like it's really important for us to like name names, and not be afraid to like speak up and speak out and to be able to like to defend each other, right? Because I don't know if maybe people may be in places where they might not be in a financially stable position to speak out, or they might not want to deal with the flack or backlash of speaking out. Though I feel like there have to be some type of, like if there is going to be like a counter, basically an overthrow of the purging of the toxicity of club, right? Like there will have to be people have to not be silent on what's going on and what's happening, because like you mentioned earlier, what we're dealing with is a by and large white supremacist anti-blackness issue,
Yes.
and there is a lot of unpacking as far as like colonial,
And there's a lot of black faces that practice that shit. That's the
Buffoonery?
issue. Yes, the
Okay.
coonery buffoonery. Yes, you got motherfuckers that are throwing anti-black rhetoric as club music narratives, and they're trying to change what the history actually looks like, and therefore where the benefits belong, where the honoring belongs, and where the real shit is coming from. Because the real shit is always gonna be there. But the market is so goddamn saturated, and everybody is told a bunch of bullshit to the point where nobody know what's what anymore. At some point, it became about working smarter and not harder, which means cutting corners in my book. And if you're willing to cut corners and not put your all into something, then guess what? How you do one thing is how you do all things, like one of my mentors say. So no, I'm not surprised when motherfuckers come out and say that they booked so and so and he got paid and didn't show up for the gig. Cause who let this nigga in the room? It wasn't me. Motherfuckers wanted to be cool with people that they wanted to be cool with. So then, okay, well, when karma comes up And I know how karma works. It uses everybody and everything around you. And sometimes you cannot have bad karma, but you can be around somebody who does. And guess what? Karma will go through you to get to them. This is why you need to get the fuck away from people that's doing fuck shit.
To kind of build off of like what you're saying now, even what Herb kind of hinted at about like how by and large, like a lot of club is youth culture, whether it's young adult, teen, right? Like, is youth culture that makes up a good portion of club. And like, you think like a lot of the how can I say this? The manipulation, the grooming that goes on, it kind of starts at that like level for a lot of club heads where like we're young, we're naive, we don't know better about the world.
Ah,
and I know it's a leadership issue is what I'm heading to.
No, no. You just hit the nail on the head, but you haven't put two and two together yet. Here's the problem. It's not that the ageism thing. That's an ageism thing. That's no different than the gender thing or the sexuality thing. It's not a young club music, just like hip hop is not a young thing. That's only something that they do to black folks, because do you say the same shit with rock? Do you say the same shit with classic music? Do you say the same thing about country music? Do you say the same thing about anything that is now looked at as white? No, you don't. It's just hip hop. It's just club music. Gospel is safe. You could be old as dirt and sing gospel music, because guess what you're not doing? Singing Fight the Power That Be. Ageism thing, the age thing, that is it's never been. And let me show you how those things connect. Because let's say the lie that hip hop or club music is a young man's sport. That's what they keep saying, and I fucking hate it. They keep saying hip hop and club music is a young man's sport, right? So if that is to be believed, then when the powers that be and the cultural vultures and the economists come into the picture, then guess who they're going to get? The young ones. Why? Because they're not just young, they're young and dumb. And the youngers now believe that they're in a game that belongs to them, not the OGs that were at one point the young ones. So then the young ones are not listening to the OGs because they think they know it all, because it's their game. And so now that can be used against them. All white folks could come in and run your business, but you won't listen to the old black folks who was already in it. Somebody lying.
Put it. Ageism is being used as a weapon to divide our community, so there is no.
Yes, ageism, gender, sexuality, all of those things is being used to separate us from each other. Yes. Because if club music was a young man's sport, if I believed that shit, then I would have never done my research, and I don't have a reason to give a fuck about its history. Because I'm the future, and the spotlight's on me. And it don't matter what happened already. I could be planting a flag that say that I'm the first person to do something, and everybody who knows the truth can look at me and laugh while they're applauding. And I'm just thinking that that's my goddamn audience. Meanwhile, they're laughing at me because they know more facts than I do about my own shit. All right. Have at it. Little nigga, if y'all think that the spotlight is you and yours alone, and you planting your flag and state of club music, how you do one thing is how you do all things. I wouldn't be surprised if you hooked up with some chick and she and a bunch of flags got planted in her too, and you acting like you're the first. I wouldn't be surprised if it happened that way. Because how you do one thing is how you do all things. Do you check the pedigree of your source? Do you know the Carfax? Tyler J in the chat said, I pray I'm still dancing my pain away well into my elder years. Hell yeah.
Bro.
Like, is house music a young nigga's game?
I wouldn't say that.
And some could say it never was. Some could say it never was. You had to be 21. You had to get in the club. You had to know who's who. Hell, some people had to snort a goddamn line to get in certain sections, to be in certain rooms. So nah, it wasn't a young man's game. It was an OG's game. Because if it's a young man's game, then why are young men bitching about gatekeeping? These are oxymorons here. It's one or the other. Stop shooting your argument in the foot, or realize you're being lied to. You're being swindled. You're being bamboozled. Bamboozle, 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 bamboozle. Shall I play the song? You've been lied to, you've been lied to, you've been lied to, bamboozle made a fool of. Should I play it?
I'm
listening.
Go for it. You know,
I'm
I was
listening.
going to say, this is for both you and Herb, right? Like, what do y'all think? Like, can club, like leadership within club, right? What do you think leadership in club can do in this present moment to kind of help with the counter narrative, the build off what I was talking about earlier? Well, we're you know, like to kind of bring it all in the, like, what do you think could be done on the leadership side of club music, or those who are seen as leaders within this space?
I'll let Herb speak first.
I'm about to say, the more that people guide with selflessness, the more that people guide with others in mind, that'll be the perfect start for that. And I feel like, I mean, if we had people who are willing to sacrifice and put themselves in position to put others in position, whether that be knowledge, whether that be just understanding of everything as a whole, I feel like that'd be fucking fire. That'd be fire for every community, for every bit of club, anywhere. We lack that. We have a lot of leaders that didn't give a fuck. We have a lot of people who were put in positions where it was me. Mm-hmm. And it's not always about your own glory. You have to sit there and willingly take care of your community. Don't get put in a position where it's like, hey, look, you're the face of this, but everything in the background is burning. You don't give a shit.
I agree. I don't agree for me personally, but I agree with the club.
No. But just generally, we see it often.
Oh, hell yeah!
Conversations. You get what I'm saying? It's like we see.
Hell
this.
Yeah! And to your point, I agree. I'm gonna also play devil's advocate a little bit because some of the OGs just didn't know shit.
No,
There's certain things that they didn't know. Like, I'm not going to say his name, but there's an OG in Jersey who people look at and go, well, why didn't he do this, that, and the third? And it's like, well, because he's a DJ and a music producer, and that is all. You're trying to make him into a mogul, and that's not who he is. So don't treat him and look at him and punish him for being something that he is, and not being something that you want him to be. He's not a mogul. He's not going to create opportunities where other people are getting booked, whether with him or because of him. That's not his field. And that's not how much he knows. And again, I'm playing devil's advocate here a little bit because there's certain things that I didn't know. But I'm out here with my goddamn bullhorn telling what I do know. Mm-hmm. And so going into my villain season, because it's in this order, I got to give a fuck about me, then Philly, and then club music culture as a whole. In that order. Me. So it's got to be about me. For the first time ever, it's going to be about me. Philly, my city, and then club music culture as a whole. This next year, I'm going to be telling a lot of truths and a lot of history and a lot of honesty. And it's going to rub some people the wrong way. And I don't give a fuck how it rubs them, because there's people out there that needs to know the truth, that needs to know the facts, that needs to know this history just for the purposes of them not not stepping into the same pitfalls, not being told who they are. Like they can't, like, there's people who went through shit just so they wouldn't have to. If they believe that they shouldn't listen to these people, then they're going to repeat the same mistakes. No?
No, I agree. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're right. History rhymes. So like I would say this, being that you're focusing on Philly, right? Like what would you have to say for like the because we kind of talked about it earlier though, like what would you say for like the the Rards, the Philly Gods, right? Like what would you say for the DJ Crazies who kind of they only reference vaguely, mind you, they vaguely reference the Dollar Boys era, though they never go anything deeper than like what you or many other people who kind of came up around your time period and afterwards, right? Like you barely get like a DJ Get 'em, DJ, like even I Am Too
Too
Live,
Live.
right? Like a lot of
Yeah.
people don't really speak their names per se. Like in when you talk about like contemporary Philly club history, right? Like to me, like what would you say towards that section of the Philly club community? Because rather I know you about to be in your villain era, but like what would you get what I'm saying? Like what would your address would be to them?
That so for me personally, I support everybody who gets into this shit until I'm shown a reason not to. There's somebody that's around Too Rare, who's Rod. Rod is part of Too Rare's crew, right?
Wait, Raw
Rar-
the same person, aren't they?
No.
No, they
They're part of the same crew.
you right. Oh my god, now we matching them together.
See? Now here's the thing.
I'll be watching
Rod,
that, but I know they
Rod knows more than Too Rare does, but the issue is that they still don't know enough. So the Dollar Boys, the reason why they'll mention the Dollar Boys and then nothing else is because, and they won't go too much into the Dollar Boys, is because of technically the Dollar Boys. Can you name any track that the Dollar Boys made?
From what I understand, it was another DJ and some producers kind of driving their music, right?
They weren't making music at all. These were just there was just one nigga who took advantage of little kids, little boys, who used them for clout chasing, because he understood that they wanted clout. This is where the fan and money shit. This is where that fan and money shit came from. The Dollar Boys, hence the name Dollar Boys. So if you got one nigga that's able to flash some cash and put that cash in the hands of a young kid who's never held that kind of cash before, and you put this kid on camera where they get to fan out that money that they've never held before on camera and look cool doing it. That's what the Dollar Boys were. They used to come to the skating rink and tape what was going on at the skating rink. Oh, speaking of, there's mad videos of that on YouTube, Bantu. So if you ever wanted to pull up what was going on around, like just as I was traveling the world and then moving forward from like the Dollar Boys era, that's on YouTube. Jams Late Night. There's mad videos, because that was the name of the Teen Late Night. It used to be called Teen Late Night. But if you look up Jams Teen Late Night, JAMZ space TEEN as in nasty, late LATE, night NITE, Jams Teen Late Night, you'll see a bunch of videos from the Dollar Boys, from when they used to bring a camera, or when the dude used to bring a camera into the skating rink, and I was DJing up there. DJ Yamin was there on the mic, and DJ D Square was on the mic. But this was around the era where I had just got signed, and I inspired the kids because they knew what I was doing. They was asking, and I would talk to the kids. So they got inspired. They started making songs on their own and for their groups, because they would come to me like, hey, can you make a song for my group? No, that's gang shit, and I ain't doing that. But you had these groups that would start making songs for themselves. And that's how the YBE, Give Me a Wally, became a thing. That was one of the group's songs. You had a lot of shit going on, but at the same time, the whole Dollar Boys thing got found out to be a fucked up situation for them to be in, because dude allegedly was touching them boys and little girls.
I heard it was a paper about sex trafficking and stuff like that too.
Yeah, so you won't find me co-signing the Dollar Boys ever, because I knew them for what they were, and I wasn't enabling that shit. If anybody asked me at the time what's up with the Dollar Boys, I would sound like a hater. I'm like, yeah, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
It kind of touches in the grooming conversation we was having earlier about the ageism and how it's set up to divide, and like, you know, I also want to say, like, when are you planning on dropping in a book with a visual, you know, a nice little diegetic music video, or not music video, but you know, like a audio visual project in a book, so people can have like paper to read through as well if they want to not watch the video and listen to the visual, because I feel like you know there gotta be something specifically from you, you know, amongst others, right? You're not the only club head, I feel like, who should have like a, you know, like, you know how they was doing like the Wolverine, you know, story on top of the X-Men. Yeah, I feel like you need your own one shot, as well as many other club heads too. Like, you know, like mad club heads from Baltimore and Jersey, as well as you and a couple more Philly club heads that I feel like y'all just need a good one shot before it's brought into the larger MCU context as well. I feel like club culture needs a 101 though. I was saying earlier, I feel like we're stuck in this like perpetual 101 phase where we never could talk about like the nuances. That's why I like listening to you, because you know you tend to bring up a lot of information that is not on the 101 or easily Googleable in many cases. You know, unless you know the specific name and you know, the terminology, because some people don't know. You have to look up party music to find some old Philly club videos, and you know what I mean? You just can't be like Philly club. You gotta be like party music Philly, and then it'd be like boom. You know what I mean? So like.
So I'm gonna answer your question. I want to finish answering your last question, because I think I need to mention something that I wasn't going to mention, because I don't tend to mention things like this. I'll give an example on a way that I support niggas that don't even know that I'm supporting them, right? So Rod streams on Twitch. When he started streaming, I followed him immediately. Right?
That's what's up.
Because I saw how during the interview between Mr. J Hill and Too Rare, how Rod was the person feeding Too Rare some of the information of what he didn't know, i.e. the K Swift's name, right? So he knows who K Swift is, at the very least. Rod, I'm talking about. So whenever Too Rare is doing his thing, Raw is off to the side, kind of, you know, part of the crew, but he's helping make sure that Too Rare don't look stupid, right? To the best of his abilities. So when Too Rare, Rod streams on Twitch, and his birthday earlier this year, right? He was at the Streamer University with Kai, right? That's how so don't best believe he's Wu-Tanging to 160 BPM club music on Twitch. So best believe that. But during his birthday, I went in there. I dropped 50 subs. I think it was 50. Might have been 20. No, I think it was 50. I think I dropped like 50 subs in his chat all at once. All right. Now, that's a lot. That's a lot of subs to drop. That costs quite a bit. But contributing to his channel, boosting him on the algorithm, making sure that I'm supportive, even if he don't know who the fuck I am. That's what I have control of. I don't have control over if he decides to Google a nigga and realize, oh shit, this is the nigga that made Got You All in Check. He created Philly club music. We need to get in contact with him for whatever reason, whether it's to actually know that you need to breathe between your woo and your tang, or to have a conversation, or whatever the fuck. Whether it's one-on-one or on Twitch, I'm down for whatever. I'm always down to support, and I always continue to support until I get reason to see that I shouldn't be. So the second niggas say, fuck the OGs, until they do that, until like the way Too Rare kind of did in the interview, he was like, it don't matter who started, niggas was making Wu-Tang music in Philly, and now we here in the spotlight. Until something like that happens, I don't have a reason to not support motherfuckers that's in this game. I don't have any reason to not reach out and give them the game. My name is Sega for a reason. It's just that when I give them the game, they get to choose how to process that information. Is this OG coming to me because he's washed and he wants to clown and he wants to leech off of the young? Or is he coming to me because he's seen it all, he done it all, he's still doing it, he's still seeing it, and he's just putting me on to some shit that I need to be told before I move further? That way I don't look stupid as an individual at minimum, and then I don't misrepresent the culture at maximum. That's up to them, and that's character and integrity. So dropping 50 cents. There's no OGs on that's coming on to fucking Twitch to support me in spreading the gospel of club music. Hell, there never really was, for real. The OGs that supported me, I had to show and prove. And I ain't had no fucking problem doing it, because I look up to these men. I want to show them how I'm honoring them. I want to show them how much I know about them. I want to ask them questions about some of the things that I've figured but didn't actually know to be true. I.e., if Rod Lee's song "Mind Your Business," nah, if that was a diss song to anybody, because I got a feeling it was, because I love it so much that I'm on that frequency. But it's not until I hear from the horse's mouth where he could tell me the story that he went through personally as an individual, what was going on with Rod Lee around the time that right before he came up with the idea to make the song "Mind Your Business," or "Dance My Pain Away," or "Feel Me." There's stories behind those songs, and I bet you any amount of money ain't had shit to do with clout chasing. So that's up to the Raws, that's up to the Too Rares, that's up to the DJ Crazies, that's up to all of them. And the second that they show me any reason that I shouldn't support them, I won't. So I'll go right back in my shadows and make it do what it do, because I'm still making music, I'm still doing gigs, I'm still building. And there's still new shit that I'm doing now that niggas ain't even gonna think about for another decade, just like they're doing right now. They're chasing accomplishments that I made over a decade ago. And it was so long ago that they swear that they're the firsts. And it's like, you got some catching up to do. Because that road that's paved way for you to walk on is still being paved. And if you don't know where that road is currently, then you have no idea where it's going. I do. I'm the one paving that way. You're just walking on it.
Now, to like segue that, because that is like one section. I also want you to go deeper in detail, because you kind of was mentioning this earlier on stream as well, when we was talking about Cookie Kawhi coming forward and speaking about the domestic violence she dealt with,
Mm-hmm.
alleged against Swizzy. Like, can you
Very
go into
unfortunate.
detail about like Swizzy Mac and Diplo? Or was it Diplo or was it the manager? I believe he was alluding to. Like, can you like elaborate on that?
So I was saying earlier that I'm not lifting a finger to save Jersey Club right now. That is from the state that is in right now. I'm not lifting a fucking finger. Somebody was like, well, why? And I said, because if one Philly nigga helped put, quote, Jersey on the map, and I'm talking about Jersey Club specifically, never mind hip hop. We're talking about Jersey Club specifically. How do people around the world know what Jersey Club is? Was there any roads that were paved worldwide already before the DJ Slinks, before the Natices, before the DJ Uniques? Was there a reason? Was the globe already looking at Jersey? And who made them look at Jersey and Baltimore and Philadelphia? Well, the reason why I'm not lifting the finger to save Jersey Club from the state that it's in is because technically what's happening right now, I see it as poetic justice. Me being a Brick Bandit, one of the first members of the Brick Bandits outside of Newark, New Jersey. And I say Newark specifically because it was Brick City club music. Hence the name Brick Bandits, Brick City, Newark, New Jersey. When anybody around the state, anywhere else, when niggas popped up in Elizabeth and New Brunswick and was making club music, they beefed with the OGs in Newark, New Jersey. They was on some shit like, well, we could do it better than you, but they were ass, to be honest. But they were beefing with niggas in Newark, New Jersey. Me being welcomed into the Brick Bandits, being a member, one of the first members outside of Newark, New Jersey, I felt the need to wear that on my back. I love representing. Baltimore Club taught me, and my city taught me how to represent properly. And being a Brick Bandit and getting signed to Mad Decent and traveling worldwide, I knew I was representing something that was bigger than me. Because if they booked DJ Sega, then guess who should be next? My crew, my dogs, my people that I look up to in Baltimore, my crew that I represent in Jersey. So when I'm signed to Mad Decent and Mad Decent is like, all right, we done put out Holotronics 8. Now it's time to put out your EP. And I'm like, yeah, but you're going to put out this EP instead, the Brick Bandits EP, because we need to be introduced to the world, not just me, but my squad. Because I want to take over the world like Pinky and the Brain, but we should be taking over the world like Pinky and the Brain. Like, I'm a fan of DJ Tim Dollar. The world needs to hear him. I'm a fan of Rod Lee. The world needs to hear and see him. And DJ Techniques, and KW Griff, and DJ Boo Man. The world needs to see these men out there. And me being a Brick Bandit and introducing the Brick Bandits to the world at large, not just to the 3 cities and the East Coast or the US, but worldwide, representing club music as a whole, representing the Brick Bandits, representing Philadelphia, right? All 3. So when I get crucified for the world to see between me and Dipshit, my former manager, and everybody scattered like goddamn roaches, and then you got clout chasers already that's going, well, here's my time to shine because they nailing Sega to the cross. Fuck him. All right. So then they start letting in niggas that got lack of character and lack of integrity, people that I never co-signed in my culture. People like, I'ma say his name, the Swizzy Max. Because when Swizzy Mac walked up to me in the skating rink, he was one of those kids who used to come to the skating rink. He straight walked up to me and said, yo, teach me how to make party music. I said, why do you want to learn? I said, first of all, red flag number 1, he called it party music, not club music. But I'm not going to hold him against what he doesn't know. I said, why do you want to learn? He said, because I want to get money and fuck bitches like you. Those were his exact words. I said, wrong answer. Come to me when you got the right answer. He said, well, just tell me what the right answer is and I'll just give it to you. I said, that's not how it works. And I walked away. He's never liked me since.
It's like an anime subplot. You know, side note.
Huh?
My bad. I was about to say, it's like an anime subplot.
Swizzy never fucked with me. He never wanted to listen. He was one of those young boys that clout chased, that wanted money and bitches. And I can't go for that. Why? Because if I got this nigga around me, then guess what kind of strings can be pulled? Money can be thrown at him and he will throw me under the bus. Pussy can be thrown at him and he will tell my secrets. I can't have that nigga around me. But he was, because he was amongst the kids and these other groups. So as I'm getting signed and I'm talking to the kids, squads like PKE, that was a squad that Reezy was a part of, and DJ Exclusive and all of that. But Swizzy Mac knew that crew too. They would come to the Mad Decent Block parties. I invited them. I went out to them, spoke to them, and invited them to the Mad Decent Block party. And they all came. Swizzy Mac begged to meet Diplo in 2011 at the Piazza. That's when it happened. That's when he actually met Diplo. 2011. And he, ever since, wanted to be in my shoes and replace my slot for money and bitches. Okay. Well, when this clout chasing nigga does shit that's obvious to me, but not obvious to everybody else, i.e., when this nigga had in 2014, the Mad Decent Block party that I got removed from, when Swizzy played that Mad Decent Block party, and I believe that was his first one. Or it might have been his second. But he had his grandmother come out and drop the first song that he played. You know what that song was? Future's Face Off. Now, that might seem cool and innocent to anybody else. To me, that's one of the most destructive things he could have done. Why? Because I would never have my grandmother, somebody who was alive during the civil rights era, who saw the crack era, and now sees me performing on stage in front of all these white people. And she pressed play, and the first thing these white folks is hearing is Percocets, Molly Percocets. When I was up there, I was remixing shit like Black Skinheads and turning that bitch out. And Diplo knew, and to everybody else, it was just innocent, awesome, and fucking dope. Diplo knew what I was doing because Diplo knows the power of suggestive messaging, subliminal messaging via music, trolling via music. Diplo knows that all too fucking well. This is the reason why, ironically, one of his hit singles, he wrote and put out at the same time my GoFundMe shit happened. I never want to hear Lean On. Suck my dick. Lean on these nuts. He told his protege, at the time, supposedly, to pull himself up by the bootstraps. He used every single anti-black narrative he could. This broke ass, bum ass nigga, this lazy ass nigga need to pull himself up by the bootstraps, and everybody believed him. Everybody believed him. And I watched how Jersey scattered. My squad scattered like roaches. And at one point, they was all about the smoke. I remember when we was all about the smoke. This is the reason why when you take a look at the Mad Decent Block Party 2010, there was a different energy there. That's when it really turned into a fucking festival, because there was an energy there where the Brick Bandits were pissed because they knew what Mad Decent were doing. They had moved to LA. They were trying to separate us from what we helped build. They knew the Mad Decent Block Party was my idea that I gave to them, and that they were building something that we contributed and separating us from it. They knew they wanted all the smoke. 2010. So when you see my performance, that's why the energy was so thick. We turned that motherfucker out. That's why I made sure that Tim Dollar had the mic. We called out Diplo that day. But fast forward 4 years later, when we needed that smoke, everybody ran like roaches. They was telling me, don't burn the bridge, Sega. And I'm like, the bridge is on fire and I didn't light it. Which side of the bridge are you going to be on? Because I just showed y'all that it wasn't safe over there. And they made their decision. Now, you got the Swizzy Max, you got all of what happened between then and now, and all of the abuse, all of the victims, all of the money lost, all of this shit that happened in the past decade and some change. All of a sudden people are going, well, what happened? Well, when the world all of a sudden crucified, when DJ Sega gets crucified for the world to see, and the world is going, well, we need club music. Where do they go? To his squad. Where is his squad? Jersey! And now Jersey is a thing. And Jersey is focused on themselves. And Jersey is letting motherfuckers into the culture that don't belong because of their lack of character and integrity. It puts everything at risk. So, fast forward some time, now you got the one Philly nigga that everybody was cool with. The clout chaser, who saw a woman who did it technically on her own. She wasn't even part of a crew. But shit went up for her. Vibe dropped. A video for Vibe dropped. And Cookie Kawaii's name became at a peak for Jersey Club. And she wasn't tied to anybody. For real, for real. She had the Cookie Monsters and that was it. She didn't have like OGs. She didn't have a crew. She did it on her own. And a clout chaser came along and did what he did when it came to niggas who chase bitches. Because what they do is, if they're chasing bitches, they'll say sweet nothings. What the older women used to call sweet nothings. Which is when niggas get in a bitch ear and we're telling her everything that she wants to hear and none of it is true. And it's all to get what we want out of it. Money and pussy or whatever we want her to do. We're not being honest. We're not being forthcoming. We're not being truthful. Not being righteous. You go into her and you lying your ass off. This is the same nigga that when some chick asked him about, when some chick mentioned my name, he said, Sega, I thought he was dead. Those were his words. Those were his words. So when this nigga finds himself in Cookie Kawaii's ear, and then in her brain, and then in her bed, and deep enough to the point where she was dependent on him in some way because she loved him. She loved him. And then what happened between them? He left and stole money and devices, and she was in a hole. So she went public with her journey with him. And when she went public with her journey of him, other women and party promoters also went public with their journeys of him. People forget it wasn't just women that came out and said, yeah, he did this, that, and the third, and he owes me 4th, 5th, and the 6th. It was also party promoters that came out and said, yeah, we booked Swizzy Mac and he got the deposit, came to town, got the rest of the money, and then left, and we didn't know he was going until the DJ set. They came out and said the same thing. It was all over Twitter, all over Instagram. But people forget that part. And it's like, okay, well, then what started between Swizzy Mac and Cookie led to women saying how brave she were for coming out and telling her story, because a lot of victims are silent about what they go through because of what they may have to deal with in throwing somebody under the bus, because they may have a bit of power or they may have connections or resources available to them, and people may depend on these people where they'll send their army after you. So there were people reaching out to Cookie saying how brave she was, and there was a mad people in Jersey who was saying, yeah, you're brave because this is what I went through with so-and-so that's part of the Jersey club community, right? And then and then Cookie was like, well, that's crazy because that needs to be known. Do you mind if I share your story and leave you and as long as you're anonymous? And they're like, yeah, because I got a feeling I'm not the only one. Dude lied about his age. Dude invited me to this. He smashed, gave me this, and then he disappeared. But I'm finding out he's actually older than he was, and I did the math, and next thing I know, I'm realizing that I was involved with an older man, or I had sex with an older man and I didn't know how old he was, or whatever the fuck. So she putting those stories out there, and these stories are throwing people under the bus, and they're triggering these very same people to then magnify their behavior. I saw the video with Prince Cannon when he threatened Cookie on IG Live, something that was stupid as hell. That was super fucking wild. Like, how did y'all feel when that shit happened? I know people got they qualms with people that they know in Jersey. Like, y'all may know Cookie better than me or whoever, but the one thing is I go by the facts, and whether or not, like, I'm never going to put my hands on no woman. If I feel the need to put my hands on a woman, I'm getting the fuck away from her, because do you know how much shit I could be doing rather than putting myself in that position where I got to put my hands on a woman? There's a song that could be made. There's some money that could be made. There's a skill that could be learned. Why the fuck am I in this bitch's face fighting the urge to go upside her goddamn head? But that's just me.
To put my history out there, right? Like, you know, I was a Cookie Monster from, you know, like 2-3 years when after Vibe.
Oh, it's by the way, it's 12/12 on 12/13. By the way, just saying. Go ahead,
Hey.
Tom Stanford.
Well, just to be transparent about, like, you know, my history, like, you know, I was an avid Cookie Monster. You know, you could see like the paper trail of me being a part of part of Cookie's Cookie Monster Collective, and, you know, helping out with the talents and skills I had.
Hold on, Bantu. The people can't hear you. Daz just resubbed. Big shout out to Daz. God damn. Big shout out to Daz. DJ Daz, thank you so much for that sub. Man, 55 months he's been sub. Big shout out to DJ Daz. He's a DJ from New Jersey who plays dope ass fucking house music. And he's one of those people that's like I call him, he's like a silent assassin. He's like a silent assassin. Like, he keeps to himself, but he's so dope, and he keeps his ear to the ground. He's always learning. He's always excelling. Big shout out to DJ Daz. It's an honor to get a sub from you for 55 months, bro. Welcome to the conversation. We at the tail end of this conversation, but Bantu was just telling us that he used to be a Cookie Monster, and what happened?
Yeah, so like, being the Cookie Monster, I was around that point in time. Like, you know, I do remember how before she even went forward about everything, she was transparent with us as the Cookie Monsters on Twitch about, like, how she dealt with domestic violence with Swizzy. And, like, you know, you are largely right when you say that she did sweep it under the rug until, you know, the laptop was stolen along with $5,000 or $10,000, I believe. And then that's when she came forward. And, you know, even with her, you know, having me to help create Instagram pages for, like, Swizzy Mac dressed in black, because, you know, she was trying to create her own counter narrative against Swizzy Mac to garner, just to like made it be clear about what was going on, and kind of seeing some of her reaction as far as like what she was dealing with the larger club community, and how she kind of got pushed to the side, and how that kind of inflamed the beef between her and Unique. So she went on the attack on Unique because she felt like Unique wasn't really there for her, despite Unique's whole platform being the women in club is not many of us, we must stick together kind of platform Unique has.
I mean, right, because at the end of the day, if Unique is saying women need to stick together, if it's all about Jersey Club, then why has she yet to mention Cookie's name, and why didn't she actually, reach out and go, and lend a helping hand? Why was there not even a conversation?
Because she also because from if I recall correctly, like Cookie was calling for she said, because at the time she said Swizzy and Unique had the same manager, and Unique had enough pull to actually get shit moving and shake some shit. And the fact that she was quiet, that's what Cookie had a lot of beef with. I don't know if the public knows about this, but I was there at the my little nosy ass be a little bit everywhere. So like like that was a lot of the contention that was going on, because Unique seen a lot of Cookie stories breaking down what happened between her and Swizzy and the fucked up shit Swizzy was doing. And like you said, it's funny how it got swept on the rug, because a lot of other people was coming out about this too, whether it was women or, like you said, people within the industry as well who have done business with Swizzy that have turned sour to like really validate what Cookie was saying. Now, I didn't keep up with Cookie after a certain point in time, because me and her got into like, well, I wouldn't even say me and her, me and like one of her white moderators got into like a big beef, and it became like a racial discussion, and Cookie wasn't in the right place to handle that discussion, so we fell out with each other. I don't have no bad beef or nothing against her. I still got like a lot of love for her, and like my biggest criticism is like, she should, like I said earlier, hire a private investigator, hire a journalist, and put out a documentary, because she have a media company with Cloud Images. You know what I mean? Since the dancing days, with Jersey Finance, you know what I mean? Like she could actually pull a whole documentary in the same way people did Diddy amongst many other abusers in the community, to rein in the power and the accountability. So that was always my criticism of what she's doing, because it's like the Shade T pages definitely in this post Megan Thee Stallion era is not a good angle as far as releasing the truth. Is a more better to like have a more measured, you know what I mean? Like they add more credibility to it, because she started even digging from what I was seeing from like the T pages and whatnot. Because at one point in time, the T pages was following me or whatever. I don't know, but like it was she talked about Little Man situation. She talked about
Cookie or Unique?
No, Cookie. She kind of was airing everyone's shit out. Like she talked about J Hood's situation. She talked about Little Man. She talked about DJ Frosty scamming people. She also talked about it was a lot of dirt exploitation, grooming that basically occurred in Jersey Club early history. Because to me, like I'm from Trenton, you feel me? So like our history with club music is different from everyone in North Jersey, because Cookie's from Irvington, you have North itself amongst everyone else who have like better access to North Jersey than we do down here in Central Jersey. Well, me specifically, you know what I mean? So I don't like a lot of early club history, music history, I'm not aware of, because my family is big on Baltimore club. Like even to this day, they will turn off some Jersey club and be like, "Put that, it's Baltimore all day over here." Like my family is hard up Baltimore club. Like you know what I mean? You would think it was from Baltimore, the way we love club and house. So like growing up, to me, I didn't know Jersey. I always like it was so deep that I didn't know like until I started doing my research. That's why I'm so big on history and stuff, because I used to think Rah Rah was from Jersey for how much my generation sampled Rah Rah. Until I started doing my history and like, oh, she's really from Baltimore, and because I thought she was from either Jersey or Philly. You know what I mean? Because at that point in time, that's all I knew. And I thought Philly Club and Jersey Club was separate. And I always conflated Brick Bandits, like y'all, because y'all sound so much like Baltimore. I always thought y'all was Baltimore. So I had it confused. I thought y'all was Baltimore, and I thought Rah Rah was from Jersey. who's also making, you know what I mean, Baltimore Club. And then it wasn't until like the second generation, like the DJ Puds or Marquand the producer, DJ Goofy or Shaquille the producer, the DJ
Holy
Big,
shit.
right? Like
I don't know. I only know DJ Big. I only know DJ Big. I ain't know none of them names you said.
Them from like Trenton, like that's when like Lil C4 and DJ Big used to make songs together and stuff like that, right? So like from listening to them, that's why I really like the term Jersey Club entered my lexicon. But before that, everything was just Baltimore Club to me. So like it's a lot with my like history and understanding of club music. Though, like, hear what Cookie was saying about like a lot of the early history for their our generation that was going on in North Jersey, because Cookie goes way back to like Bad Ink with DJ J Hood. Like, I remember a lot.
Right.
You know what I mean? And she also talks about this openly as well. Like if you listen to Cookie, so it's very interesting. Like hearing her story, and I thought everyone was like
Hold on, Bantu. We just got another sub. Big Ed Smith. The goddamn sub. Been sub for 32 months. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you for that sub, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for that sub, Big Ed Smith. I appreciate it. Big Ed Smith is my virtual deacon at my virtual church whenever I open it. We've been closed for about a good year now because niggas wasn't putting money in the goddamn collection plate, or Big Ed Smith was stealing the money out the church collection plate. One of the two. But at some point I'll open up the church again and we'll do God Complex on Sundays. Villain season is right around the corner. So yeah. But you were saying about Cookie going back to Bad Ink and like Bad Ink Radio and DJ J Hood and her being around from that era, and that's how far back she's
club music. Yeah, when you talk about like her impact outside of being a club, because many people might know Cookie as a club artist, when reality like Cookie is like the manager of Jersey Finest. She's behind Cloud Images, so Unique and DJ Bake. When we get Freaky Video, right? Like that was like one of Unique's first like real big major songs across the state as well. Cookie is a part of that journey as well when you talk about Unique's history. So like when you talk about Cookie, Quiet Place, and Jersey Club, it's real deeper than her having a hit, though. It's kind of funny that her hit is the resurgence of Jersey Club when you talk about the mainstream narrative of how Jersey Club dominates TikTok, right? It became less of club music dominates this app, and it became more so Jersey Club dominates TikTok, and Cookie Kawhi is the floodgates that brought the industry's attention into club music. With Vibe dropped and became viral on TikTok, and even then her story was about fighting erasure, right? Like she have articles out there as well that talks about dealing with erasure, fighting for credit, how nobody was crediting her, and like it to me that's like a never-ending story. It seems like there's a anti-black like beast of erasure that is in club music particularly, because I don't really see that in hip-hop much. It's mainly club music where it's like people have to fight for credit or have to like kind of like push back in many regards, like we were talking about earlier, against misinformation and erasure, right? Like even with what kind of kickstarted this conversation with dances telling you to eat a dick simply because you like no, I like this is my history, that's not what happened, you know what I mean? It's like I feel like it's part of the reason why we be stuck in the one-on-ones too,
I can't argue with niggas that don't take grammar seriously. Like I take grammar very, very seriously, and I'm a sucker for phonics. Like I mean, I might not speak proper English all the time, but I do have great communication skills, and great communication skills is important as a necessity to argue any fucking thing. How can you argue anything and you have no communication skills, you suck at phonics, you suck at grammar. You don't know where to put your commas, ain't no periods. As far as I'm concerned, there is so many different ideas in those tweets that dancers put up in regards me because of no commas. I'm like, he's trying to sell me pussy and telling me I need to suck his dick to get pussy because he ain't put no comma in between no period somewhere. I could take any of what he said in any kind of way because I know what he's trying to say, but he's saying so much because it's not properly said. I'm not arguing with no niggas that spell claim CLAME. You don't deserve my time any more than some woman deserves me going upside her fucking head. Like dances, he could. Man, look, I'm not worried about him. I'm not worried about him at all. I'll see him when I see him, but I ain't worried about him. Am I supposed to buck every single time some dude goes suck my dick? Nigga, all right. Then I'll be a distracted ass motherfucker. I really would. And that means anybody can pull that puppet string where my ego, because that's what that puppet string would be, is them trying to trigger my ego. Going, oh, like it's only an ego that goes, oh, this nigga told me to suck his dick. I must punch him in the fucking face. And I'm going to take my time and take my energy and stop what the fuck I'm doing. No matter how important it is, no matter how goal oriented it is, no matter how on point or ahead of the plan I'm in. I'm gonna stop whatever the fuck I'm doing to find dances to punch him in the face and make him lose the 2 teeth he got left. Break probably the 1,000th pair of thick ass glasses he got, all because he jumped in the fucking conversation, tried to tell my history and said that Sega was made a Brick Bandit because his manager was cool with the Brick Bandits. Okay, nigga, no. Oh, well, fuck you. I don't care anyway. What? He said I'm a tech dancing dude. Yeah, I'm a tech house dude. No, you're not. You're one of very, very few token niggas in the EDM world, and you think you're special because of it. And you're not. Ballots in the chat. He said, I don't fuck with dude. Who does? Don't nobody fuck with Toad like that. He think just because he's got a song placement in some unknown, unseen Marvel TV show. Have y'all ever heard of Metamorphosis or some shit like that? The show? I think it's called Metamorphosis. Damn that. Don't Google. Have you ever heard of it? It's a Marvel. I think it's a Marvel fucking TV show.
I love
Marvel doing a goddamn.
But I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, me either. But he got a goddamn placement of it, and I think he hot shit because of it. And it doesn't matter why he think he's hot shit. Because he's the kind of see, this is why I can't stand coonery buffoonery ass niggas, because niggas like dances will straight up pop up. He'll tell me making a sample based genre is stupid, but he'll worship the ground Fatboy Slim walks on. I don't know what the fuck you talking about, Sega. I don't fuck with Fatboy Slim. I fuck with other sample-based white DJs. That's my dance's impersonation. Cause he got like a whatever. Anyway, point is I'm not beat. Yeah, I don't. It's kind of like a list, but not really. His 2 teeth is just big, and he got just some big ass nigga lips. He got something on his lip that got something on its lip, and it's been there forever. So all of that might have something to do with how he speaks.
Oh, can I ask this question for both you and Herb, right? Since we were talking about the 201s, 501s, and the 901s of club music. Can y'all tell me some deep cut lore about y'all and club music? Just your personal relationship, because I believe club music is spiritual. I always will say that. Like
yes, it is.
Dance My Pain Away is a Negro spiritual song.
Yes, it is.
To be a club beat,
Thank you. Thank you, Bantu. Say it again. Say it again. No, fuck that.
Dance My Pain Away is a Negro spiritual. You know what I mean?
Give this man a round of applause, chat. Dance My Pain Away is a Negro spiritual. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
For real.
You know,
Blow the
I'm a
goddamn
Dial
horn. Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Like this is what I always be saying. Like the club for teenagers is like church for old folks. When we go, we're going to shed our stress. We're going to kind of throw our minds elsewhere. We're going to allow our bodies
It's a ring shout.
to be
It's
a
modern
vessel.
day ring shout. That's why we get form into circles and we dance around, and you know,
Yep.
it's a lot of the ring shout elements that's like intact in club. Really, it's really like, you know, reading about the ring shout and stuff like that. It really made me look at club way differently. Was like, oh, this isn't, you know, like it's culture, but like how much of like our African traditions that we carry over, and
Yes, it is.
we distill it through club music. You know,
Did you
the
see Sinners?
dancing, the call and response. Yeah, you know I did.
The Dancer and Sinners. I forgot what they're called. I'm about to pull it up. Hold on. Hold on. Chat, help me out. Chat, help me out.
You talking about the dancing sequence within Sinners, right?
Yes. Shit.
And
What's
which
the
part-
name?
when they was dancing?
So when the veil got thin, when the veil got thin, and all of the different musicians
Yeah,
and
that's pretty much
dancers
what
from
club does. I see where you're going.
Yes,
at.
it is. Yes, it is.
That's
That's
pretty much because club is very flexible. Like club, that's why people try to push club into hip hop, but it never works because it's an extension of house and by extension disco. So it plays off that same tradition of being flexible. Is deeply infused with soul, which is gospel, R&B, blues, right? Dance my pain away, right? Like it's very in touch with the root of Black American music, you know, history as well. Like club is a very extension of that. You know, that's why like what Ducky say, like, you know, Baltimore is the motherland, and it very much so is, you know. So like, you know what I mean? Like, I wish somebody from Baltimore was up here, but yeah, like
for real.
to me, it's like, you know, yeah, like it club kind of span it like much like a lot of other Black American culture. You know, it's very flexible, and it's in a little bit of everything, and a little bit of everything is in it too. And I like that how you say with the sequence, because that's how I see club music. It's very spiritual, and it reaches across borders, and it touches everybody. And
The Zauli dancers. That's what I'm thinking of. The Zauli dancer, the one dancer that had like the mop shoes, and he looked like a
Yeah.
mop. He was doing a lot of the footwork that they do in juke and footwork dance music that they do in Baltimore, and that they do in Jersey, and that they do here in Philadelphia. The Zauli
Yep.
dancer. Those dances are dances we still do to this day. Till this day. When you I want anybody who's listening right now to take a look at that scene in Sinners, and when you see that African dancer with the costume on, the Zauli spirit, yes, the Zauli spirit, the footwork that he was doing, we still do in club culture till this day. And I wonder if anybody picked that shit up. I wonder if
I feel
anybody
like
picked that shit
it's
up.
like subconsciously known, but I feel like now people are starting to consciously, you know, like showcase it too, because you know the Ivory Coast is largely where a lot of our ancestors come from. Like, you know, we
Yep.
come from like the Ivory Coast to Gold Coast, you know, so that's everything from like Sierra Leone all the way down to Cameroon, right? That's where the bulk of our ancestors come from, and you know, deep within those regions.
Yeah, I got Cameroon in my blood.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
because a lot of us come from those regions. So like, you know, that's why I hate that whole we lost narrative. Because I listen to club music every day. We do the same shit y'all do. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people from the continent I talk to.
Yeah,
They be like, damn, like
yeah.
it's literally bar for
And
bar
th-
what we do. And it's like, yeah, like we're the same.
And
people.
they're told a narrative that's also a lie that keeps them from us. This is
Yeah.
the reason why when they come over here, they go, well, we better than y'all because we ain't cotton pickers. Well, that's where that shit separates us. And it's like, all right, well, have at it. When
Like
you
come from a
end up having to
colonized
do,
nation, so what's the
yep,
difference, you know?
yeah, and you're running from it. You're coming here willingly. We ain't come here willingly. You're jumping over here to where it ain't the fuck safe. So who's stupid? Y'all ain't sending a canoe or nothing. But y'all want to turn y'all noses up at us as opposed to understand that we're all black, and no matter what God you worship, no matter where you from, no matter what you're dealing with, that's the foundation of what we're up against. Why we're up against what we're up against. It's because we're black. Nothing else. Nothing else. So when it comes like the state of club music, you said, hold on, you said something about give a secret, like a little known fact about me
like
in
some
club music.
lore, you know, personal to you if you want to make it like specific, you know. And this for you and Herb, because I know Herb been quiet the whole time. We gotta speak something, say something, nigga. Now let me
I'm
stop.
about to say, hold up, my fault.
Yeah.
Yo, P-Gang, Sega knows me, dog. I love a good
No,
conversation.
I'm playing with you though.
I
You know
love
me.
to
I like
nah,
the.
for sure. I just love to sit back and learn, yo. I love a good conversation. I like to sit there and
No, I got.
Yes,
You know, I'm
sir.
just fucking with you though.
Tell the people, hey Herb, tell the people some lore that they don't know about you.
shit. Man, listen.
That you beat Swizzy Mac in a producer battle, and that I
You know
thought
what? To
that
be
your
honest, when it
shit
comes
was
to that,
his.
to be honest, when it comes to that, I don't
Mm.
even mention it no more because so much was going on at the time. The behind the scenes, you know
So
what I
like
mean? Like,
undisputed. Not to interrupt you.
it was, yo, that shit was, it got super corny at a point in time. Not even just between me and Swizz, but with a whole bunch of extra shit. Like, example, I got into some shit recently, and I said it. I say it every time. I don't care to bring this shit up anymore because this shit happened like fucking, what was it, 2020, 2021. And to this day, motherfuckers are trying me on some, oh, like, Herb, this, that, and the third, like, this is where you was really at it. Well, you know, this is where you shined at. And I'm sitting here like, like I hear what motherfuckers be saying, but my mentality is just like I hear y'all cool that was a big event or whatever. I'll cook anybody the fuck else the same way. That's my mentality with it. Like I don't get into that so much anymore because it's like I don't like I'm not gonna define myself by that fucking battle. That shit it was cool and I enjoyed all of the battles overall. Shit, I was in a ton of fucking battles. People kind of reach and kind of try to do too much when it comes to that specific battle. So for that reason, I'm like, listen, if there's any, I mean, conversation that has to be had, it won't be me bringing that shit up. It won't be. The shit is just it got super old to me. It was constant, and it's like, okay, I don't mind having a conversation with people who are fans of Jersey Club, but some people try to use that to take it somewhere completely left field. Not even in regards to just me, myself, or whatever I want to do with music, but it was super corny. It got super corny at a point. Um, lore. Damn. There's so many different things I could speak on, but like I said, I enjoyed the constructiveness of this conversation. I was sitting here fucking learning. As a fan of club music, I could separate the two. I like sitting here, Sega tell you, I enjoy sitting here fucking learning something new. I
That's
enjoy
why I
hearing
fuck with
other people.
Herb. That's why I
enjoy
fuck
hearing
with
other
Herb
people's
because
perspectives. Like y'all both here having a
he
conversation, and I'm just enjoying. I'm like, okay, these are refreshing perspectives. I get to sit here and just listen.
like the reason why I fuck with Herb so much is because he's a club fan first, just like me. Like if I say your track is ass, that's not DJ Sega telling you your track is corny. That's me as a club music fan telling you I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't resonate with the shit, and it doesn't make me bob my head. It doesn't inspire me. It doesn't motivate me. It doesn't do anything for me. I don't fuck with it. That's me as a club music fan. Don't take it as DJ Sega saying your shit is whack. Take it as this club music fan that loves club music don't like that particular song or this particular producer or that particular sound. Like, I'm a club music fan first, and that's why I definitely fuck with her, because he's a club music fan first. So I just wanted to reiterate that.
No, I appreciate it for sure. Yeah, I mean, you can't love club music, get into club music, and sit there and act like, oh, I wasn't a fan. Like, man, it's fucking club music. Whether it's
Right.
fucking Baltimore, fucking Jersey, Philly, I had history listening to all three at one point in time. You
Mm.
can't sit there and just, I mean, like, as far as lore, man, I've been through enough shit in this fucking
Hey,
club
ain't
shit.
no limit.
Where
Just
shit-
to put that out there.
I
There ain't
know,
no
I
limit,
know, I
so
know, but I mean, like, I'm sitting
be
here
on
just on
wax.
some.
Put
I
it
could
out,
sit
air
here
it
and be a
out.
dickhead about this shit. I could really be a jackass right now. I could really sit here with my own personal agenda of, you know what? Let me just take this opportunity to crucify these XYZ motherfuckers. This person, that person. I ain't doing that. I don't care for it. I don't care for it because first, the main thing to me is the music, which is why I don't sit here
I
and
feel
I
you
don't the
completely.
same way he feels with the whole like I'm not gonna argue on it and I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do. Nah, I'm gonna fuck you up with this music shit. That's
Yeah.
just, I mean, that's my favorite thing about this fucking club music shit. I can keep the competitiveness. I'm not gonna do too much of the extra shit. I will fuck you up on the club track, and that's how I feel. I had plenty of other fucking battles. And I mean, like it was dope. I enjoyed the competition of the shit. But for me, that shit, I feel like it'll never stop. It'll never stop. I think I could be 45, and the minute somebody who honestly is in club music and who's honestly doing this shit feels like they want to get at me with the music, well then shit, you just made my inner child happy. I'm looking to fuck
Right.
you up now. I'm looking to fuck you
Right.
up now. I'm looking to fuck you up.
It's like
I will
Goku over
never
here.
sit there and fucking. Oh my goodness! It don't matter what fucking platform you have. I feel like that's the kind of insight that I want it to be, where it's like, fuck who you are, fuck where you're from, fuck whoever you
Mhm.
came with. You want to get to it? I will get to fucking you up with this club shit. That's my shit, man. I love this club music shit, but that's from my inner child. Like people don't understand that shit. Some people do this shit because it's like, oh, it'll look good. Like I could have sat here and took the Swizzy battle and been like, yo, like I could have tried to utilize his platform or whatever the case may have been to make myself look good. This wasn't that. There was so much history with that shit. That whole battle transpired because he had came in talking about fuck Jersey, and I was like, well, what you trying to do? I mean, like that's people. There's a lot of people who were sitting there, especially during battles or just any type of situation. People would be like, "Oh, that motherfucker got a platform. I got it. You know what I mean? We got to be on the same platform so I could." Hell no. It's got to be like the competitiveness, the actual competitiveness of club music, the competitiveness I witnessed from my OGs. Like sitting there growing up, seeing the beefs. Like he mentioned the beefs between my city and Brick City. I was
Mm.
excited. I was super excited as a fucking kid. And then the more that I learned, not only from him, but from getting around some of the Brick Bandits and them putting me on to this was the history. Man, holy shit. I was super excited.
Yeah.
My inner child fucking glowed. I'm like, okay, cool. And then that being able to be remade later on down the line where it was again Elizabeth versus Philly, I was excited. I was super excited. That was my shit right there.
Man,
That's kind of the as far as like me thinking about lore, I don't care to sit there and pick a specific moment to sit there and be like, hey, look, like I could really shit on this motherfucker right now, or I could put this out. I could do no. It's just the overall concept of like just the history overall, and how I could be a part of that shit, how I can enjoy, and how you know what I mean, like I could sit there and these stories will go on the same way that the stories before me were given to me. It's like, yo, I'm telling you, like Sega knows. I sit there and just fucking listen. I'm like a low ass kid. I'm like, all right, you know what? He'll put me onto a bunch of shit. And I'm like, yo, for real? Like, damn, that's crazy. It feels like I have my own personal notebook and I just sit down and write everything that I fucking learned. Like, that's just, I mean.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's an honor because shit, I wish I had somebody to go to give me all of the tidbits. It's like, do you know who Riley is? You know, all of that shit as opposed to having to find the fuck out. So I
You mean
love
the
to be
family
that source of
reunion?
information. Hell, well, here's the thing. You gotta be a family and know that we are family first.
True. Well, yeah. It takes the as some family members would say, it takes the elders to get their generation together so they can pull their grandkids and be like, family reunion.
Right. Or it take the young. Here's the thing. Or
That
it could take the
too.
younger generation and pull to all the old people who ain't talking to each other
Cause honey, if
together
I
for the
had the
first time and God
coins,
knows.
I set it up. I set it up real quick. Invitations to
Man,
everybody.
it's going to get set up because there's a domino effect. There's a way to start it off with genuine, and then you create the bandwagon that the bandwagoners then jump on. There's a way to
True.
do it. So it's going to be done. As far as my lore, because I'm gonna let y'all go soon because I gotta hop off, and I know y'all got shit to do as well. As far as lore about me, I mean, besides the 3 tours in Australia, to the 2 tours in Japan, the countless gigs in Canada, all done between the years of 2007 and 2000 and God knows shit, and still going. Technically, I'm about to renew my goddamn passport. I'm about to be on my 6th one, and I haven't even had one to use since before the pandemic because there wasn't nobody going nowhere. Why the fuck I need to renew my passport? So, lores, DJ Sega lore. Um, DJ Sega lore. What's something about me and club music that? Okay,
Oh,
so
can I? Oh, all right, I was about to say. You know me. I was going.
so I was going to mention the how club music ties to EDM, where that started, and why the rock star DJ is a thing. Can I talk about that lore?
Hey,
The
look,
rock star
we here to
DJ.
listen.
So the rock star DJ. When you think of a rock star DJ, what do they look like? And what's around them? You got a bunch of smoke, a bunch of light. Well, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm gonna ask y'all and then let y'all answer. When y'all think of a rock star DJ, what comes to mind?
You want to go first, or what? Me?
Yeah.
All right. To me, a rock star DJ is basically like a DJ who functions as a music artist. Like like when we talk about how Daft Punk, broke through barriers, right? When we talk about like a DJ who can perform almost on the same level as like a Beyonce concert, like as far as engagement, like moving the people. When you say rock star DJ, I think of like a DJ that can, be booked on the same level as like any well-known rock band that creates mosh pits. That's what I think of when you say rock star DJ.
Okay. How about you, Herb?
Man, I think of the feeling that a DJ could bring behind that to display that kind of rock star character. In the sense of, you think of a rock star, you think of a motherfucker that's really just some badass motherfucker that sit there and shut down. I mean, any motherfucking event who will really sit there with a. It don't even necessarily need to be like, yo, you need people behind you, but the crew that you'll sit there and have around, whether they're directly behind you or just supporting, it's the atmosphere, it's the energy. It's like, damn, this motherfucker, yeah, it's that motherfucker right there. Like, I'm sure I could describe it better, but yeah, this that motherfucker right there. I feel like that is, I mean,
No, I think y'all hit the nail on the head with those things. In fact, let me give y'all a little bit of history. So when you take a look at the DJs that are in EDM, and they're mostly white, they're mostly a bunch of lights, smoke, visuals, and you might not even know their names, and they're playing on big stages and whatnot. But let me give you some history. So 2007, summer of 2007, I had a chip on my shoulder. The reason why I had a chip on my shoulder is because hip hop, the industry side of hip hop, which at the time was the Dirty South, they were doing some, what seemed to me, some culture vulturing shit. Well, what do you mean by that, Sega? It went from tear the fucking club up, right? We got bottles and we got drinks, to party like a rock star. And I fucking hated that shit. With a passion, I hated that shit. Why? Because when you listen to those party like a rock star, I'm a rock star baby era of music, because that was a thing. R. Kelly put out the song I'm a Rock Star Baby with Khaled and Luda and all of that shit. And then you had the Party Like a Rock Star and all of that shit. So this was an idea that the industry was kind of taking hold on, but there was nothing about it that screamed authenticity. There was nothing about it that said, we're taking back a genre that we started. And this is where it begins. There was no history. There was none of that. And I felt triggered because I had some of us black folks, and it doesn't matter how old you are, some of us isolate ourselves when we're listening to rock music, because we are in a world where rock music has the face of whiteness. So what we're listening to, though we feel like there's a resonating aspect of rock, even if we don't understand our own history, when it comes to rock, we don't know that Ike Turner started rock music with the song called Rocket. We don't know that because we're so busy ignoring Ike Turner because a movie showed us Ike Turner kicking Tina Turner's ass. So we ignore Ike Turner creating rock and roll. We ignore the OGs, right? And therefore, when rock is now looking like Kiss and Rolling Stones and all of this other shit, it doesn't look like us. But we still resonate with a lot of what's coming through the music because it actually started with blues, right? So we isolate ourselves and we go through this listening to rock music era where we are alone or with very few people listening to the Creeds and the what's the fucking band, the Avenants, what's the fucking band name, or the Limp Bizkits, or the oh man, for me personally it was like Jimmy Page and when Puff Daddy did Come With Me with Jimmy Page, I fucking love that shit. But with me, where it started, rock music, my love for rock music, and I'll never forget his name. His name is Ron Wasserman. Ron Wasserman is the composer, or used to be the composer, behind Saban. Saban, the studio behind Power Rangers, VR Troopers, the X-Men, the animated series. He made that music. He wrote it. He composed it. Ron Wasserman is the reason why we have even if he did steal it from Whitney Houston. Even if he did. Still, I'm Your Baby Tonight for that melody. When we first heard thrash metal, for most of us, it was when the Power Rangers were fighting. That's thrash metal. Go, Green Ranger, go. That's all thrash metal. And some of us black kids that used to watch and grow up on Power Rangers resonated with that music somehow, some way. So when we got familiar with rock music on MTV, i.e. Mudvayne Dig. Like, I saw when that video premiered on Headbangers Ball. It was my first time ever watching Headbangers Ball. I didn't even know Headbangers Ball was a thing. I woke up early for school one day, and I was dressed, I ate breakfast, and the whole house was asleep. So I cut on the television, something that I don't usually do before school, because I'm not allowed, because I'm not ready, and I'm not in the mindset. But I was awake and I was ready. I cut on MTV, and they're coming back from a commercial break, and it's Headbangers Ball, and they're premiering a new video. It was Mudvayne Dig. The name of the band is called Mudvayne. The name of the song was called Dig. I saw that video for the first time when it aired on Headbangers Ball, and let me tell you something. My eyes were glued. I don't even remember blinking. I don't even remember my mouth being shut, because I was so fascinated with what I was listening to, because as heavy as deep as those melodies were, I still heard the melody. And that kind of unfolded into my rock music era, where I was listening to rock music a lot of the time, but I was doing it alone. Fast forward some time later, you got the Party Like a Rockstar era. Totally dude. And these motherfuckers look like they're on some coonery buffoonery shit, to be honest, because it doesn't look like they're righteous with it. And that's just my opinion. It doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel authentic. So I had a chip on my shoulder. I was like, I hate these songs. I hate what they're doing, because I know it's not real. So let me show you what a rock star feels like. Let me show you what a rock star looks like. I just happen to be a DJ making club music. So what do? I take Last Resort and I flip it into a club song. I take Party Like a Rockstar and I flip it, but I flip it in a way where you can sense that there's way more rock influence in this shit. Yeah, I flipped Rockstar Baby, and I did the same thing. But Last Resort, flipping Papa Roach, remixing Dig, Mudvayne, a song I played for Dirty South Joe when I first met him, just getting my CDs and Armands. And the CD I had released at the time that summer was called Rockstar vs. Clubheads, the mixtape version. This was before I even knew there would be a retail version. But I played my Rockstar vs. Clubheads mixtape for him, and he was like, "Do you got anything else?" And I said, "Yeah, I got plenty. I got shit." He said, "Do you have anything like this Last Resort remix?" And I said, "Yeah." And I told him I had something that I made just for me that I didn't play for the kids because it was too heavy, and I didn't want to hit them with something that they weren't ready for. I hit them with the Last Resort remix, but I didn't hit them with my Dig remix because it was really, really heavy and really, really aggressive. And I knew that the kids wouldn't be ready for that. I played that Dig for Dirty South Joe. And Dirty South Joe got so fucking motivated and energetic. His exact words were, "This is so good, I feel like kicking a hole in his counter right now." I walked in Armand's looking to get my CDs up on the wall next to the DJ K Swifts, next to the DJ Rex, because I felt like at that point in time, my CDs held up and it belonged up there on that wall as an option for people to choose from. So I walked in there trying to get my CDs up there to be sold. I walked out with a manager. And I was already a Brick Bandit at the time for months, probably about a year. So that's facts. But that energy got me that taking rock music from the chip on my shoulder, turning rock music and bringing it into the club music world in a way that I feel like only I can. That's what led to me getting a manager. That's what led to me getting signed to Mad Decent. And that's what led to the idea that when you're looking at a DJ and he's performing his music, and at the time it was me going off playing my club rock remixes, and I'm shaking my locks and I'm bobbing my head and I'm just super energetic, the crowd stops dancing with each other, and they look up at the stage where I am DJing at, and they're going, look at them go. And they're jumping up and down and they're pumping the fists. And now the club turned into a festival. It was no longer, and it's been like this for a while. You can't tell me that there weren't whole big ass discos where everybody was dancing to the music that they loved, and everybody stopped. And everybody stopped to look at the DJ and damn near worship the DJ while he's spinning. Like the whole time they were looking at him and they're cheering him on, and they're anticipating the next song, and all of those things happen right in front of me. Right in front of me. Where there was a transition of the audience and the importance of the DJ. All of a sudden, somebody who knew that the main element of hip hop, the DJ, that was the focal point at one time, returned to being a focal point. But now when you look at the EDM world and DJs and where DJs want to go, these festivals, where did that idea start? The Rockstar DJ. There was always the Armin Van Heldens. But unless that DJ was in a room with a bunch of other DJs, there was no reason for the crowd to stop and look. Stop and admire. All at the same time. Collectively. What's good, Dollface? There was no reason for that. There was no... If the idea of a Rockstar DJ prior to that was just a famous DJ, they weren't looked at or treated or came off while they were performing like a rock star. All of the house DJs and the disco DJs were too cool. They barely bobbed their heads. The places that I got booked at the DJ at, the white people who was on before me were stiff and still. Very, very calculating with the music that they're playing. Then after I would get off the ones and twos, then they're putting their body into listening to the music. Now they're touching knobs and not turning anything. Now they're looking busy. Now they're throwing up their hands and putting gun fingers in the air and doing all this extra shit to bring attention to themselves. Y'all want to know where that started? With me. That's some DJ Sega lore for your ass. I don't give a fuck how far back you go. The Avincis, the fucking Claude Von Stokes, and all of those white DJs, they're very calculating. They're very stiff. Until they get a load of me, and then they learn very, really quickly that they can no longer be that stiff. Because it would be like night and day if you go on after me. If I was to say I wasn't the only one that the same thing that happened to me happened to James Brown, between him and the Rolling Stones, that if you take a look at Ed Sullivan and the performance when James Brown and Rolling Stones were on the Ed Sullivan show, the Rolling Stones had just came to America. This was their first performance. They were going on after James Brown. James Brown was like, I don't give a damn if I go before, during, or after. I'm going to do my thing. And don't tell me to water down my shit. So he went out there and he gave one hell of a show. There was mad speed. Like, there was no pop versions of his music. If he was singing please, 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 it was fast. A little faster than usual. If he was dancing, it was a little more energetic. He ain't walk out on that stage. He danced out onto that stage. And when he left that stage, he ain't leave no stone unturned. And when he left the stage, he walked right past the Rolling Stones and told them, welcome to America, and kept walking. Then when they went to commercial, came back, and Rolling Stones had to follow up with a James Brown. When you see, what's his fucking name? Mick Jagger. When you see how he danced, and he looks like a goddamn puppet on a string. him trying to move his legs, him trying to do the dances very similar to James. It's like he couldn't help himself. He really couldn't help himself. He couldn't be up there being stiff because of what he just saw. He was greatly inspired. Greatly inspired. I urge anybody and a mama to take a look at the documentary Mr. Dynamite. Who produced it? Mick Jagger produced the Mr. Dynamite documentary, where he not only just tells James Brown's story, he's dead ass honest about it. So when they get to when he comes to America and he meets James Brown for the first time, he will straight up tell you the dead ass truth. He went out there and destroyed us. We had to follow up for that, and I did my best to copy him. That's what happened. That's how EDM became the bubble that it is today. All of the white faces that are rock star DJs, names you don't even fucking know, but they're on lineups with 50 other DJs on big ass stages because they brown nose or in part of a circle jerk of people who are able to have something on them or have something with them. I want to learn something. I could very well be wrong. But that's some DJ say galore for your ass. If there was any DJ before me and they wasn't in a room full of DJs and everybody was there, they were dancing at one point and then they stopped to look at them to behold his aura. Show me. Diplo wasn't playing rooms where that was the case until he was playing rooms with me. Dead ass. I don't give a fuck how far back you go. Go back to the Holotronics parties. Everybody was dancing, minding their goddamn business. Go back to the parties where Diplo was DJing even after he was producing for MIA. People would look at him, people would take pictures, and then they would go dancing with whoever they was dancing with. There was at no point in time, any reason for everybody to stop dancing with each other. And they're looking at the stage, looking at the DJ, and now they're dancing, but they're dancing all face the stage. I want to learn something. Do your research. I hope I'm wrong. I sure hope I'm wrong. But I doubt it. I watched how they went from working smarter and not harder to looking busy while doing nothing. Y'all are now just being, in the past decade, people are just being aware that there's DJs doing big shows, and yet the equipment is not even plugged in. I was a hater when I was putting that shit out there. When I was saying, be careful, black folks, because there's an element of hip hop that's being stolen from us. And there's tens of $millions at the time that was going into it. Hundreds of $millions that went into it. Now, I want y'all to find out. Here's your homework before I read out. I want y'all to find out and do your research. From the year 2004 to 2025, how much is EDM worth? How much is EDM worth? Electric dance music. Something, a general term that they call multiple genres of black music. But if you call the black music by its exact name, if Philadelphians knew that party music was Baltimore club, then guess what? They have the knowledge to find out more truth and more knowledge. Golden Sweets in the chat said it's got to be somewhere in the billions. No, it's not somewhere in the billions. It is in the billions. It's in the tens of billions today. Now, next question. How much of that is going towards black people that's making that music? I'll wait. How many is going towards the black people that created that music? And don't come to me and tell me that it's because of samples and samples don't make money when the white folks get to sample whatever the fuck they want,
Pennies to the dollar.
however the fuck they want, and they don't even get to give credit where it's due. Fatboy Slim, that song Praise You. The vocal in that song is from a black activist. Do you know her name? Everybody, people know Fatboy Slim's name. But who knows the name of the woman, the black woman, the descendant of American slave, an activist who wrote a song, an activism song that was then sampled in Praise You? I'll give you just her first name, Camille. Do your research. She's 91 years old today. She just found out. Somebody came up to her and was like, hey, your song was sampled in Fatboy Slim's Praise You. She said, who? What? Never heard of it. Never heard of it.
It almost reminds me of Rah-Rah's situation too. How Rah-Rah's
It's the same thing.
Though, you know, like Rah-Rah have to constantly tell people who credit her if they respect the culture. And like that divide, even amongst the club community, that's kind of controversial in some spaces too. How like, especially in like Jersey, how, you know, a lot of people who use the Jersey Club label will be like, oh, you know, what, you know, you hear the what, and it's wild how like how spread out the what sample has gotten too.
Let me give you the facts about
that. Not to interrupt you though, my bad.
No, you good. Let me give you the facts about that. This is why it's important to know what you're supposed to know before other people come in and try to do shit based on what you don't know. If Rah-Rah did a song that was a work for hire and she signed off on it, and that work for hire resulted in a single being released, the acapella of that single also being released, and then the ad-libs of that single being released as well, then technically she's not owed anything. Why? Because somebody came along and preyed off of her ignorance. She signed off
It
on,
was like a
on
sharecropping
those.
contract or something like that, right?
Say that again?
So it was like a sharecropping contract in a sense.
What do you mean by that?
Like, you know how a sharecropper, they wanted us to work their land to mind us for, you know, mind our physical labor for resources. So in a sense, the contract was up in a way, like you said, work for hire, or like a gig in a sense.
Yeah, sort of, kinda, sure.
You know,
I would say
it's they switch up the language based off of, you know, the era, but in that
yeah, 100%.
tradition of stealing our labor, you know.
Yeah, I would kind of liken it to, how can I? Okay, so I would kind of liken it to getting a good idea that is not patent to somebody who knows the process of creating a patent. They know all of what they got to go through. They know how much it costs. They know who they got to contact. They got the tools and the resources. It's like they go out somewhere and they get an idea from someone who doesn't know this thing, these processes, and doesn't have those.
What Thomas Edison was doing, not to interrupt you, but
right.
You know, Thomas Edison was stealing everybody else's invention because he had the patent shop down pat. But when you dig through it, there's a lot of black inventors that contested him, even to this day, in many cases, about like what inventions was his and which ones he stolen. And I think they said none of them. He just was good for patents. That's it. Not even inventing.
I mean, well, then there you go. This is the reason why you got people right now that's saying, well, you know, it's cool to be an executive producer of something, even if you don't know how to make beats, even if you don't know how to engineer music. All you got to do is just be in the studio and say you should do this way, and be the elephant in a room when you do it, and that makes you the executive producer. It's like, nah, not really. You got to do a little bit more than that. You got to do a little bit more than that. You can't just go inside of a room, tell an actual producer to make the beat this way, and that just makes you the executive producer. But somewhere along the line, that became allowed. That became allowed because it's easier than putting the people who qualify in those positions in said positions, because the people who qualify, you don't want them in those positions, because that takes away from you and your community. Why put black folks in those positions when your community could easily benefit in ways where they have no idea? So yeah, when a rah-rah is coming out, no different than a Rowetta. A Rowetta, okay, so who is Rowetta? Rowetta is she's like a classic house music singer who's barely got credit for her shit. She was sampled in the song B. And that song still is being remixed to this day. I've even remixed B. I released it for free. But there's mad people who put out songs with her voice and she wasn't paid. She wasn't even given credit. So part of it is what we lack in knowledge. And then the other part is what we lack in determination and wanting to fill these slots. Everybody's going for fame and fortune. And everybody's going for the spotlight. Nobody wants to hold the spotlight. Like, nobody wants to be the person behind the camera. Nobody wants to be the person behind the light. Nobody wants to hold the boom mic. Nobody wants to write anything down.
Okay, or the janitor at the venue.
Or the janitor to clean up after everybody.
I love a good
Nobody
union,
wants to be
okay?
that. Hey, that's what we need. That's what we need to build, and that's what it needs to start out as, at the very least, to keep people from being able to benefit from a culture that is trying to make do in a system that is not trying to pay us what they already owe us, and is giving us a bunch of bullshit excuses as to what we don't deserve. They're able to give other communities things that they want because it makes sense to them to have it. But we don't deserve none of these things. All right. Have at it. Have at it. I just know that when it comes to me and what I can control, I'm going to make sure that the people who deserve to be put in positions and that deserve to be honored will be honored. And even if there's history to be told, all of the ugly truths needs to be told. That's where I actually align with Cookie. Unfortunately, yeah, there became a time and an era in club music where after somebody got crucified, other people or other kinds of people were allowed in a group. People that lack character and that lacked integrity. And now that they've been allowed in a group, they've been given power, and they've been using that power for evil. So then when that shit gets exposed, for the purposes of making sure people don't trot in those areas, the only people that should get mad are the people that are enabling that shit or that is involved in that shit. Because why are you upset at justice? And how is it not anti-black? Just saying. Golden Sweet says everyone wants to be the face, but don't know how the hands or the feet of the body of creations. Yeah. Nobody wants to be the feet. Everybody wants to be the face. Nobody wants to be the brain, the limbs, the heartbeat. That's where it starts. That's why I'm looking for the heartbeats. And we up here, the three of us, and the people in the chat, we're the heartbeats. Go ahead, Bantu.
I want to say this, that side note, I would love, like with my culinary experience, I would love to flip burgers at a club music venue, okay?
Let me hold
I
that
multiply
thought,
so
Bantu.
fucking fast.
Bantu, hold your horses, because you're talking about something that I've had an idea for a long time, and and trust me, it involves that. It's a bit bigger than that, but I'll talk to you off stream about that, because
For real. You know, I'm about to
these
start
are
for some ideas.
these are some ideas that other people aren't looking at, which is why this is how I know they're not genuine. They're chasing old accomplishments. They're not thinking of new ones. There's nobody that's there's somebody in Baltimore right now that got a hot sauce. There's niggas here in Philly that will cook their asses off. There's some niggas in Jersey that will argue that they can cook better than us.
No, for real.
That's all I'm gonna say thus far. But just know that there's something in the works right now that niggas ain't gonna think of for another 10 years. And white folks ain't gonna think of until I do it or until we do it. So
I know. That's
like
right.
ain't no fucking Clive Von Strokes, Armin Van Helsen, and Diplo's battling it out on the grill. That ain't a
No,
thing.
for real. Some shake off fries will hit. Okay.
Man,
Milkshake or some shit like that. Like, oh my god. Like,
I ain't gonna say anything, because if I say too much, they'll take that goddamn idea.
I'm trying not
They
to
be like-
do, but you know, I'm over here fanning out because just the idea of it, it'd be so dope. I just show up just because.
Wait
Even though
until
it's
I,
not.
nigga, wait until I tell you what I got in mind. Wait till I tell you what I got in mind. And yeah, it's got to start with me, and it's got to start with my city, but that's not where it's going to end. Best believe there's a domino effect. There's a method to my madness. I ain't got no problem not having a spotlight. Fuck a spotlight. I do my best work in the shadows. They thought they could use clout against me. Oh, we're gonna take the ability for people to see him away from him, and they thought that was gonna hurt. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. The people who are looking are gonna look, and the people who don't want to look don't need to. I'm fine making moves with what I'm making. The shit that I've done in VR, niggas ain't gonna think of for another 5 years. Maybe two. Maybe there'll be somebody in one of the replacements that'll all of a sudden pick up a goddamn VR headsets and go, oh, I'm curious about what we could do. It's like, well, welcome to another one of my worlds, nigga. And don't think you're gonna step into somewhere where there's not a flag planted already. Take a look around. There's a reason why you can step into this world comfortably. There's a reason why you're walking on red carpet, and it ain't cause you're the best in the world. You're not even making sure you're the best in the world. Excellence is a character trait, not a skill. Now, any last thoughts before we raid out and best believe we're gonna have this conversation again. After January, best believe we're gonna have these conversations a hell of a lot more often. So anybody that got any smoke can join in the conversation. Anybody that's got any arguments can join in the conversation. We'll get it.
Around. I don't know why, but every time a discussion is being held, it'd be hard to find someone from Baltimore. We need someone.
Oh, for the same reason why, for the same reason why it's hard to get Jersey motherfuckers to help, because Baltimore got their heads up their asses just like Jersey got their heads up their asses. It's not going to be until people understand that it's bigger than just the city that we're in or the state that we're in. Like, you'll never hear me go, Pennsylvania! Pennsylvania Club, because Pennsylvania unity.
Hey, chill out.
And motherfucking hitting up the motherfucking brick bandits to come help the state of Pennsylvania. Like, nigga, do y'all know how the fuck y'all look and sound like to me and to the rest of the world? This is fucked. Stop tagging in Jersey shit. If you want me involved, Take that shit out the fucking way. It's not about Jersey if you want me involved. Not anymore. I did the Brick Bandit EP. I was on the front lines. I got crucified. I did my part. I paid my dues. And guess what I got in return? Left up on the cross. So now that I'm still on the cross, looking at Jersey as a state burn, all I got to say is Pennsylvania, Penn State, Penn State.
I mean, to be fair, I'm team everyone, so
So am I.
PA in Jersey.
So am I. Like, I'm not going to be team everybody
Maryland
and be in the crowd. That's like me being black, being pro-black, and I'm just hanging out with the KKK. It's like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Our interests no longer align. From the moment we stopped drinking Coronas as a collective and we walked into this fucking racist ass rally, I figured out, hey, you know what? I don't belong here. If this is about Jersey, then you don't need a Philly nigga's help. I don't give a fuck if it was another Philly nigga that helped burn Jersey to the ground. That's not this Philly nigga's fault. That's y'all's fault.
Ooh, excuse me. Now,
There's a pecking order. There's a pecking order. Yeah, go ahead.
Not to interrupt you, I feel where you coming from. Because the way we yell Jersey, you would think that we had like a dancer curriculum for the dance side of club music, a part of the institution. So like the dance teams would be seen as like actual teams that's on like the school board. So instead of doing football, where you could crack your head open, or basketball, it's dance will be seen as a legitimate sport where there's like could be like investment and community involvement and like definitely what the way like the dance community is still somewhat like underfunded from my perspective, and it's not like on like like platformed in the same way, because I'm in ballroom too, so there's like a lot of structure there too. So
yes,
you would think that like the way we yell Jersey, like the dance scene will have a lot more, funding resources, and it'd be like more structured and institutionalized and a part of the school board and school curriculums, where you would get like North Jersey and South Jersey and probably other regions just battling, a part of like a dance. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? I don't have the proper language to say it like real concise. But
nah, I get exactly what you're saying. You're saying that education is an important part in earning your stripes. And there was something that you mentioned earlier that I wanted to give an analogy, an allegory for. Club music and how much you know and how much you learn and how much you understand about club music is like being in martial arts. There's levels of belts that you gain based on what you know, and then there's what skills you have and how you execute your shit, and then there's what accomplishments you made. Like there's different levels to club music. To how do you go from being a nobody to becoming a legend, a living legend in club music? That's like earning your orange belt, your yellow belt, your brown belt, your black belt, your secondary black belt, your third black belt in club music. I think structuring it that way would be important, because any Philadelphian that comes to me and goes, hey, teach me about party music. First things first, it's not called party music. It's called club music. And the first place that you need to start is Baltimore. But you can't learn Baltimore until you know what inspired Baltimore club music. So you got to go to Chicago house and Miami bass. These kids that are making club music at 150, 160 BPM don't even know how on the nose they are with Miami bass. Because when you listening to Two Live Crew, and all of that shit, that's what the kids are trying to make today as far as Philly club music. But they're
to interrupt you.
But
Like Dale County specifically, but Florida got their own club movement now and everything.
Oh no! Let's not start with that shit. Let's
Lola.
not start with that
Uh-oh.
shit. Because
Michael,
first of
let me
all,
know. What's tea?
first of all, Florida, Miami bass is their club music.
True.
That's it. That is it, and that is all. If New Orleans got away from New Orleans bounce and started making club music, New Orleans club music, but it sounds like Baltimore or Jersey or Philly, that's not New Orleans club music. That's their interpretation of what they understand as our form of club music. That's what Florida is doing. There shouldn't be one Florida nigga doing a Wu-Tang tutorial. Not one. First of all, it's wrong as hell. And it's flimsy. Flimsy as fuck. That's what they understand as their interpretation. And let me be very fucking clear. Inside of Philly club music, you have this same exact fucking problem. The kids only started making their interpretation of what I was making. They heard the mixtapes and they assumed it's supposed to be fast. They assumed there's supposed to be drops. They assumed there's supposed to be sirens. That's why it sounds like that. They were never taught that club music is only fast on mixtapes because the DJs got to mix this shit together. They were never taught that there's no air horns and sirens over the actual club songs. That it only exists on the mixtapes for the purposes of niggas not stealing the exclusive tracks and putting it on their mixtapes or playing at their parties. Hence why you will hear DJ drops on mixtapes, not in the goddamn song. My drops were in my songs, so for the purposes of motherfuckers not playing the songs at parties, not having bought the actual song without the drops, because that told the crowd where they got the song from. If they hear DJ Sega, that's the name. If they hear that over my music, that's because the DJ that's playing it is playing it from a mixtape, playing it from a SoundCloud. They playing it from a source where they didn't come to me to get the actual song in its entirety. No drops, no air horns, no sirens, just the song. The way Baltimore club culture always have been. You got one version on the mixtape, and then you got the whole thing if you were lucky enough to find it or have access to it. So Philly club music got the same problem where the kids is only doing their interpretation of what they think Philly club music actually is. Yet they can't even tell you what it is or who started it. Because it don't matter because they got the spotlight. Florida niggas should not be teaching how to Wu-Tang. I'm finna go down to Florida and tear shit up. You laughing. I'm going down to Florida to fuck shit
Oh my
up.
god.
First of all, there's another Wu-Tang song coming out because I'm doing it. I'm going to make another Wu-Tang song. Yep. Like my umpteenth one too. And I'm going to be popping up where I know that there's smoke. And I'm going to make sure that there's fire because I'm bringing a fire. Oh, I'm going down to Florida. Best believe Florida they got about 3 months to get ready for me and get their mind right. Because when I go down there, I'm going down there to whoop ass. I got my belt in my hand. Like Dr. Umar. He said, what? He said 10. He said 10. What is it? God damn. What do you call the whips? 10. Help me out, chat. 10 lashes. Yes. 10 lashes. 10 lashes to you for the coonery buffoonery. 10 lashes. Swizzy need about 50 of them shits. 50 lashes. Jersey Club as a state need about 20 lashes for isolating themselves from the sources that help them not just get a brighter and a bigger spotlight on them, but that helped carve their very sound. Let a Jersey nigga tell you where the bed squeak started. They'll sound just the same as the niggas making Philly Club that can't tell you what Philly Club began. Therefore, they have no idea where it's going because they're on the bandwagon and they're getting pulled. They don't have pull, they're getting pulled. Yeah, I'm Florida, you've been warned. I'll be down there in March. Get your shit together.
You gonna mess around? They're gonna have some Miami bass infused club for your ass.
They better. They'd be in a better position. They'd be in a much better position than trying to steal a fucking Philadelphia dance and act like they know better than Philadelphia. Fuck that.
He said this is personal.
This is very fucking personal. Very fucking personal. You think I'm worried about dances on Twitter and the fact that he can't spell claim?
I seen it. I seen.
Like I'm finna go down to Florida and whoop ass. 10 lashes to the nigga that gave a Wu-Tang tutorial. 10 lashes. And yes, I got Dr. Umar fucking emotes. Y'all can throw them in the chat. Yes, I do. Don't think shit is sweet over here. I got some Dr. Umar emotes for your ass. Take a look. Take a look. Things that make you go, Take a look, chat. Y'all see it. Y'all see it. 10 lashes to everybody who disrespects the culture. Another 10 lashes to anybody who willingly disrespects the culture. And another 10 lashes if you ass. How about that? 10 lashes for ass club music. So just to reiterate to those who didn't know, when I got asked who people should be looking out for as far as who represent Philly club music or who's going to be representing Philly club music very, very well, 3 names: Traps and Trees, DJ Reezy, and Tyler J Music. There's more. There's more dancers. I worship the dancers here. They have no idea how I make my music for them. None. But watch what happens next. Villain season is upon us. And everybody and niggas is getting lashes. Yes, they is. Yes, they is. All right. Last thoughts. Last thoughts, because it's 1:37 a.m. and I could go on for a whole 24 hours. Don't tempt me. But last thoughts. In Urban, you could begin. What's your last thoughts and last statements?
Shit, man, I'm gonna have to throw the bat signal up sometime soon. It's way too much shit. I'm gonna have to throw up the bat signal soon.
You're gonna have to throw up the bat signal soon. Do that. You know I'll come flying.
Nah, but this was dope. This was absolutely dope. I enjoyed sitting here and having y'all perspectives and y'all conversations actually just continuously going back and forth. Oh man, it's good food for thought.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How about you, Bantu? Any last statements, thoughts?
No, I didn't think I have more questions, but other than that, nah. I appreciate you, for extending your platform to me, though. I really do appreciate, you listening and, willing to answer my questions because I talk a lot, so I appreciate you for.
It's never a problem. It's never a problem. I mean, shit. If DJ Unique wanted to come up here and say her piece, she could have. If Cookie wanted to come up here and say her piece, she could. If Swizzy wanted to come up here and lie, he could. if Dances wanted to come up here with his thick ass, with his stop talking shit about me, DJ Sega. This is why I don't fuck with you. This is why the EDM community don't fuck with you. This is why we crucified you for the world to see. If he wanted to come up here and say that shit, he could have. But fuck him too. Pause. So saying all that to say what? Oh, everybody will have their opportunity. I don't give a fuck who you are. If you got something to say, you'll have your opportunity to jump up here, because all I did was put a link in the chat. You could have jumped up here tonight. And so the next time that I do this, I will also put a link in the chat that you can click and join us up here for the conversation. Who knows who's gonna be up here next time? I might have KW Griff up here. I might have Riley up here. I might have Ducky up here. And that's just Baltimore folk. I might have Tamil up here. I might have Mike V up here. Hell, who knows? Who knows? Maybe Rod might come up here. Maybe DJ Crazy will come up here. Maybe Too Rare will come up here. Who knows? Who knows? Just understand that there is a place where the state of club music can be discussed. Facts can and will be given, and there ain't gonna be no room for bullshit. No room for bullshit. So a big applause to Herb and Bantu for coming up here. I appreciate y'all. And y'all have a good night. And once again, for next time I do this, if you can hear the sound of my voice, you can join us on this conversation. I don't care who you are. You could be a DJ, you could be a producer, you could just be simply a fan of club music looking for answers. It's villain season. And during my villain season, I'm going to give you a place to speak. A place to find the truth. The truth that they don't want you to fucking know. Because it's easier for them to capitalize. It's easier for them to use you. It's easier for them to abuse this shit. So, for those of you who are curious, got websites, I'm working on promoting and marketing myself and all of that because I suck at it because I don't like the spotlight too damn much. But DJSega.com, the brand new official website for me. DJSega.com, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you check that out. DJSegamusic.com, the place where you can purchase all of the music that I got up there. There's some old shit up there. There's some classic shit up there. And there's definitely some new shit. Don't let them keep you from the good shit. Because I'm telling you, you have no idea what you're missing and how much you got to catch up. Because some of you haven't heard of me in years, which means you got a lot of catching up to do, because I don't stop working. I don't stop making music, and I don't stop doing what I do. I'm still out here paving ways. I'm still out here accomplishing shit. Still out here doing my damn thing. Still out here, excuse me, doing things that's going to inspire people later. That's going to give people ideas later. They're going to jump on the bandwagon later. All right. So that's DJSega.com as the official website. You got DJSegamusic.com for the music. DJSegaLive.com will either take you to a website where you will find out any and all information as far as my live streams and my DJ sets, or it will bring you right to me if I'm live streaming. So if anybody put in DJSegaLive.com, it's only going to bring you right here. Right here. So DJSega.com, write these down. Write these down. DJSega.com, DJSegaMusic.com, DJSegaLive.com, and then you got DJSegaLinks.com. If you want my Instagram and Twitter and Twitches and all of my social sites and just fast clicks, DJSegaLinks.com. All right. So make sure that y'all remember all of that. DJSega.com, DJSegaMusic.com, DJSegaLive.com, DJSegaLinks.com. Visit those sites, share those sites with your friends. Let the people know that I'm still out this motherfucker. And guess what? I'm stepping out to fix some shit. There's some people that deserve some lashes, and they're going to get them. They're going to get them. So, for anybody that's curious about club music, you know who to come to. You know where to go. And I'm always for having these conversations. I'm live every fucking day this month on Twitch and other places, but I'm live every single day this month, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard every day. And we're doing something different every single day. Next week is Remix Week. So yeah, I'm going to be playing Fortnite. Yeah, we're going to be talking. Yeah, we're going to be doing shit. But mainly, I'm going to be making songs in front of y'all. And I don't like doing this shit. People that know me know that I don't like making music in front of nobody. And I don't give a damn if somebody is in a room and over my shoulders. I hate that. I don't like me making music is a very, very personal thing for me. It's a very, very intimate thing. It's like masturbating. I said it. I said it. That's how it feels to me. It feels it like some part of me is like I need to reopen my OnlyFans to make music in live because that's such an intimate thing. It really is for me. But I'm along with, you know, combating my dislike for marketing and promoting myself because I don't like putting myself out there or whatever. I feel like the people who want to find me can and will. I don't need to shove anything down their throat in order to grab their attention. Yeah, but that's stupid, Sega and the internet world. All right, fine. Fuck all that. But yes, I'm going to be remixing songs all next week. Of course, we got My God Mondays on Monday, where we trade the best tips and tricks with some of the best mods on Twitch. So if you want to learn anything about Twitch, modding, the internet, where it's going, make sure that you tune into My God Mondays. I've been doing that class every single Monday, with a few Mondays that I missed, for the past 5 years. So anybody who's curious about Twitch, anybody who saw something around the platform like a Kai Cenat and they wondering where did he come from, how did he get so popular, why he's on the cover of Billboard magazine, My God Mondays is the perfect place for you to come and ask those questions where you could get answers that the CEO won't fucking tell you. I said it. My God Mondays, where we trade the best tips and tricks with some of the best mods on Twitch. And Tuesday through Friday, I will be remixing a song from nothing to something. And I got a flyer for it. Make sure y'all follow me on Instagram. I'm going to post it up. Make sure y'all following me here on Twitch. Make sure your notification bell is turned on because what we're doing is we're combating shadow banning. I was shadow banned over a decade ago, and the first thing I got to do is be consistent. So, and give me y'all reasons to be consistently over here. I'm going to make music in front of y'all next week. I'm going to remix Mariah Carey's Make It Happen on Tuesday. Shout out to DJ Audio One, who's been wanting me to do that for years. On Wednesday, I'm going to be remixing Will Smith's Pretty Girls. Why? Because Philly. And because that's not a song that got a lot of love. And I tend to tackle things that don't really get a lot of love and a lot of clout sometimes for the purposes of giving it, making it get that kind of love. So I'm going to take Will Smith's latest single, Pretty Girls. I'm going to remix that live on stream into a club song. That's Wednesday. Thursday, I'm remixing the Daisy's Dollop jingle, the sour cream jingle. I'm remixing that on Thursday. And then on Friday, I'm doing Janet Jackson Escapade. So I'm flipping all of these into club music, from nothing to something that y'all can hear in its totality. So if y'all want to see what that's like, if y'all want to hear what that's like, make sure y'all tune in next week. All right. And on Christmas Eve, we got a special double feature at 8 p.m. I'll be going live to explain the history and the legacy of my Woo-Ha remix. Why? Because on Christmas Eve, it will be its 19th anniversary. Got you all a check. Got you all a check. I made that on Christmas Eve, hours before James Brown died. I'm going to tell you that story. I'm going to give you all the history. I'm going to tell you all about the legacy of that song, of my Woo-Ha remix. And then at 11 p.m., we're going to celebrate the heavenly transition of the Godfather of Soul by having a bit of a watch party and an experience where I get to show y'all and give y'all the story of the night I stayed up past my bedtime for the first time ever to witness a James Brown event and all of what goes with it. And I'm going to show you that event and walk y'all through it from beginning to end. And you don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it. So if y'all ain't got nobody to celebrate Christmas with y'all or whatever the fuck, join us. I will be right here. Christmas Eve, starting at 8 p.m. We're going to talk about Woo-Ha. And then at 11 p.m., we're going to honor James Brown, the first artist, the first performer that I looked up to as far as who to learn from, who to idolize in a way. James Brown, the Godfather of Soul. That's also on Christmas Eve. So keep your eyes out for the flyer. The flyer's already done. I just suck at promoting myself because I don't like my haters knowing what the fuck I'm up to. Because if they know what I'm doing, then they know what I'm not doing or where I'm not at. They know where I'm at. So big shout out to each and every one of y'all. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. This is DJ Sega signing off. I will holla at y'all. And those of us who are on the Twitch side, copy the raid message so we could show love to a smaller streamer who needs some numbers and some love and support. We're going to show some love. Let's see. Awesome Prime is on. Awesome Prime is on right now. Who else is live right now? Dollface is live right now. We have Tony Baker's live streaming. Y'all gonna want to be here for My God Mondays. Anytime I hit the live button, y'all gonna want to be here because I'm just full of information. I'm just full of information, and anybody who listens, they aren't surprised when shit happens later because I tell them not just what's happening and why it's happening and the history of it, but you can trust the source of your information if they can tell you what's going to happen next and be right. I'm here to be that person for you. All right. Y'all be safe. Much love. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.